We are live. Don Prager is going to be sitting up here tonight, doing his thing. Justin Gibbs in the house. Yeah, we got Justin Gibbs. Sorry. Headline challenger tonight. Looking forward to it. Don's talking about the Holocaust again. Can you give it a break? Don does not deny the Holocaust, by the way. He's an Israeli Jew, but we still love him. Oh yeah, we're live on YouTube. I wouldn't want to get Stephen demonetized. How many of you are Hassan fans? Not a one. That's why this church hasn't burned down yet. I thought Gibbs was going to throw his hand up there. No, this is nice. We're in LA on Saturday night. We have 10 debaters signed up there. And we go to San Francisco the next night for another 10 debaters. LA, we are on our third venue. We keep getting thrown out because look at us. We're so dangerous, right? Hopefully the only weapons you guys brought tonight are your sharp minds and sharp wit. Too dark? That was pretty light. You guys are Destiny fans. You can take some pretty heavy jokes. What a beautiful looking audience. I love it. You all crawled out of your gaming caves to be here tonight. It's pretty amazing. Hey, that's derogatory. Is that Scott? Scott, you're debating tonight? Yo. I just guessed because I saw your brother's photo and I was like, hey, he kind of looks like him. I love it. That's what this is all about, suckering people into things. Welcome, welcome. Is your name Kay or Key? Q. Key, but it's Q. Q is our stage guard tonight because you all are such scary, violent people. He's going to be so busy tonight tackling all of you. It's going to be brilliant. Just see if he's ready. Test him a couple times. When you stand up to go to the bathroom, just do it with a lot of conviction. By the way, the bathrooms are outside. They're going to have to pat you down and wand you again when you come back in. If that's your kind of thing, just keep going to the bathroom. We want everyone to have a good time tonight. People keep telling me that these are targets on Donald Trump's head, but I don't know. I don't think it's that. I think it's more just like, I don't like you, I'm anti you. But I guess using the red paint is maybe a little too edgy. I know Stephen has turned down some of my requests to share it a couple times, but yeah, we could use the Ghostbusters symbol, exactly. Why didn't I think of that? Well, it's nice to be back in Phoenix. We haven't done an event in Phoenix since 2017. It's been a while. Been a long while, too long. But being in this venue today makes me want to bring our next big God debate here. So those of you who are interested in debates on the existence of God, maybe we'll have to get Alex O'Connor back on stage and do something in this venue. It's pretty awesome. Welcome, don't be shy. You're the next contestant on Trigger the Test. How many of you enjoy Stephen's sense of humor? It's like all of you. Awesome. I think Gibbs even put his hand up there.
Test. Test, test. Test, test. What does this mic even sound like? Hello? I have no idea what this mic... Oh, wait. Is that really loud?
How many of you think Trump has unequivocally demonstrated himself to be a dictator now?
Is this like a fucked... I can't fuck. I didn't test this one. Just my wireless. Oh, it sounds okay.
It's pretty good. We'll get the other half there by the end of the night. Incompetent. Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Some people
Jesus.
think that's just him like messing with people, you know. There's a real genius.
Okay, turn it down a little more. Can you hear me? Hello, hello? Test, test. Okay.
Yes, this is the anti-Trump debate tour.
You guys are picking up the background there.
Those of you watching on YouTube, I know we are live. And those of you here tonight, please just take one little second to go over and subscribe.
Testing,
at
1, 2.
Pangburn. We just dropped our...
What does it sound like when
what
both of these are
I
active?
am calling
Is
the
it super
greatest
fucked,
vaccine
or-
debate of all
I don't know
time.
if it's like
some people might disagree.
there's latency or whatever.
Maybe I'm a little biased, but yeah, we just dropped that.
Increase
that
my
features
volume
Professor
or his
Dave
volume?
Explains, Dave Farina, and Dr. Dan Wilson. Debunk the funk. I'm a huge fan of Dan Wilson, by the way. I love Dave too, but Dan Wilson just makes my heart beat. And they are going head to head with two of the
If I turn
biggest names in the
his
anti-vax. And I don't know
down,
how to describe those guys.
is this too quiet for that, or is that okay?
It's like two of the biggest dumbasses.
Like, what is the stage volume?
Dr. Pierre Corey and Steve Kirsch, they went head to head. It was wild, like
Oh, wait.
swearing at each other. Pierre was just threatening to leave the stage multiple
Test, test.
times.
Oh,
He-
shit. Okay,
He's
okay.
getting very
I see.
triggered by the data coming out of Dan Wilson's mouth. Also, if you see me with bad posture tonight, just like yell at me, because my wife said if she sees me with bad posture one more time in one of my videos, she's just gonna snap. So
Oh, my mic is really echoey.
help save me. Hello, how's it going?
I see.
Welcome,
So when I
welcome.
mute my mic, it's the echo goes away.
Bless me, Father, for I have. Whatever.
Yeah, I see.
No, it's, actually, we were talking about this, kind of joking about it, but I mean, I'm an atheist. How many atheists are there in the audience? There's okay, a lot of atheists. You're going to hell, anti-Trump, because Trump is such a devout Christian. He really is. Like he really exemplifies the Christian lifestyle and way. We got Captain Jack Killian in the audience tonight. Captain Jack's been a long time member of the Pangburn
Hello,
Discord
hello.
server, the Pangburn universe. For those of you who like, you know, being able to go somewhere and jump on to have a quick debate or quick discussion, you know, immerse yourself into a conversation community. That's what the Pangburn Universe Discord is all about. You can just Google that, you'll find it. We hope you join us. And we have people all ages, all walks of life, Christians debating atheists, atheists debating atheists. We have Muslims, left wing, right wing,
test.
everyone
Hello, hello.
on our server.
Testing,
And it's
test, test.
policed pretty heavily in a dialectical sense. Like my conversational dialectical
Test, test.
rules are grounded in good
Test,
faith
test.
and helpfulness. So if you come there with sincere intentions to have good conversations, you'll be fine. If you come there with a sense of wanting to be helpful
Testing,
in conversation,
testing.
you'll be fine. If you come in there with a bad faith, unhelpful
Test,
attitude,
test,
you won't be
testing.
fine. You will be
Test,
executed.
test. Hello, hello.
Literally.
Yeah, okay.
We're not making jokes about that tonight. Don. Yeah, I see you back there. How are we for time? Almost 7.
All right, I don't think I'll use this
Brought to you by Monster.
just like a meme mic anyway, so-
Non-spons.
while I'm setting up stream.
What are our next? Oh yeah.
Okay.
Also,
All right, good luck.
Oh, thanks. Also, yeah, if you still want to come out and hang out with us in LA, we're going to be there in 2 days. There's still a few tickets available, even though we've been juggling venues. We finally landed on one that we think is not going to abandon us last minute, but I've been wrong about that like 6 times on this tour. So, and it's funny, like some people might be like, oh, they just don't know that Destiny was coming, and that's why. And then they find out, and then they can't. No, they literally get the poster, they get the ticket link, they get told this guy is thought to be very controversial by some people, and he debates people against Trump, he makes jokes online, this is his profile, this is Pangburn, ticket link, poster, all that stuff. And then what it's been is like, last minute, it's always just like one or two board members that come out of the ether at the very last minute and say, no, we have a bylaw within our rules that says they cannot, and then we have to run to the church and beg for forgiveness. Yeah. How are we doing over there, Don Don? Still figuring it out? We're good? Welcome, welcome, everyone. We normally do actually have a bar for our events, but we couldn't run a bar here tonight. Probably for the best, looking at some of you out there. Yeah, we were in New York when we were last there with Stephen. We were in this venue called Bronxlandia. It's right in the heart of the Bronx. It's like a nightclub that it's almost like an auto body shop that's been converted into a nightclub. Oh, we better roll out the red carpet. Hey everyone, say hello to Destiny, Stephen Bonnell. Let's give him a round of applause. Let's make some noise. Oh yeah.
My chat,
Oh yeah. How's it going, buddy?
they're complaining about your boomer humor.
They're complaining about my humor?
Your boomer humor.
Oh, I am. No, Boomer Humor is my name, my middle name. So that's me. And I'm Canadian, so give me a fucking break. Stephen, you haven't had a single break since you landed. How are you feeling?
I feel great. I always
Yeah.
feel great. Seems okay? Switch is fine?
All
Cool.
good, Don Don?
Okay. Before we start, I'm just going to hit record on all the cameras.
Yeah. Hell yeah. We're going to get recording here and get going. Shut this boomer down. If you want more boomer humor, come join me on my live streams that attract a total of like 2 people when I go live. Thomas Panther says, are you ball fondling each other yet? Yes. Okay. Let's see if any other venues canceled on us. But yeah, if you guys haven't got tickets yet, come and join us. These are a lot of fun. It's great to have everyone together. There's going to be a poster signing at the end of the event tonight, and you guys will all be able to go home with a free poster signed and get your picture with Stephen. And that'll be happening at the very back where the merch table is. Yeah, and if you come over and subscribe to Pangburn, within the next 30 minutes, I will grant you one wish, but you have to email me directly. We'll see how many of you try. What's that? What's the email? You have to find it. And I'm not going to say my name any more throughout the evening. You just got to do the work. Okay. Where are my beautiful notes? The what? Oh, we were driving around in Waymos. This was my first experience in them, and that was really cool. I didn't even think twice. Honestly, that was the most I've ever trusted another driver in my life. A robot. Really felt comfortable, honestly. I didn't. Don kept mentioning like, yeah, I think I'm fine. But I was just like, I totally forgot. The only thing I did that was really weird is we were talking about some sketchy ideas and shit in the back, and I kind of like lowered my voice because usually I do that if we're like riding with like an Uber driver or something. But then I looked over, I was like, oh yeah, we can say whatever we want, and then we yelled some really obscene shit. And yeah, we're 5 years old. So we do have Scott, Nathaniel, Don, and Mr. Gibbs tonight. Okay, cool. We might have some time for some Q&A. How many of you would like to jump up on stage and have a little bit of Q&A with Stephen tonight, just so I can get an idea? Okay, quite a few of you. Very cool. Well, we were able to sell 130 tickets for Phoenix here, which is nice. For our, when we sell that many, not everyone does show up, but it looks like we have a nice, decently full house tonight, which is great. Everyone's got enough leg room. Awesome. Oh, okay. Yeah, cool. Steven's playing with his camera in the corner. I gotta say, honestly, like, Steven is probably the hardest worker out of any speaker I've ever worked with in my life. I say that genuinely. He's a really hard worker, and he really cares about when he comes out and does stuff with us, and I deeply, deeply appreciate that. And yeah, it's quite amazing to see how long he streams, and all the work that he does is just that he has energy to come and set up with us, and it's pretty cool. All right, Red Bull ready to go? Well, is there anything you wanted to say before we get started?
Thanks everybody for coming out. I met at least one guy in the airport who actually flew out here for this, which I thought was interesting. How many of you guys are from out of state? I like the enthusiasm. All right.
This is more of a hand-raising crowd than a
That's
clapping
okay. Hey,
crowd.
listen, actually,
They're
you
not
know
very
what?
loud.
When we clap, when we land on our planes, we clap. So
Yeah.
you can clap with the audience for anything. Okay.
I
All right,
love
cool.
it.
All right. There's a few hands up there. I think like 5 or 6 people. Cool.
Sweet. Well, I think we should just get started. We have around 30 debaters that are ready to debate Stephen on the West Coast here, and we're just going to go right into getting started with number one. Everyone, please welcome to the stage Scott. Scott, you're up. Number one, buddy. Let's go, Scott. That's right.
Hey, how's it going?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
What's going on? So
Nothing
I got
much.
roped into this. My brother's 10 years younger than me. They're
Okay.
twins.
Twins. All right.
Yeah,
Real quick, can you make sure the mic's right up to your so they can hear you in the back?
Oh, yeah. Josh is here with me. His wife is due any minute. She's 2 days past her delivery date.
Okay, that's exciting.
So he prioritized coming out here to listen to this and meet you. So that's kind of cool.
I mean, you can always have another kid, right?
Well, this is his fourth. So
Fourth kid or fourth Destiny event?
it's going to be his fourth kid.
Okay, then he's already seen 3. He's good. All right. That probably doesn't change much from kid to kid, so you know.
Yeah. So we're on completely different aisles of the political spectrum. So he's like, I want to see Destiny cook you. So pick a topic and come up here.
Oh man.
I don't know. So I think the easiest one's going to be the border. So I think Trump, laid it out that the Democrats opened the border up and we had this crisis. Nobody really knew what was going on. Biden refused to fix it. He tried to give like a last-minute ditch effort at the end. And Trump came in and did what he said he was going to do.
Okay, so for border stuff, I think there's like 2 big kind of issues that I have when people talk about the border, okay? The first is that you're all racist. I'm just kidding. I just had to avoid that one. No, I had to get my woke credit out of the way. The first issue I have is I feel like, it's hard to put this into words, but it feels like sometimes the problems that people think they have are sometimes problems that other people talk about. Like it brings like more awareness to a particular problem, and so sometimes it can be hard to get a gauge on like what the actual issue is. So, do you have any kids?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, once they hit a certain age, it's very obvious. You can tell when like you need a nap. You're just tired. You know, they'll complain about everything. And it's like, but you need a nap, and once you wake up, you'll be fine after that. I feel like there's a lot of general anxiety in the United States for a variety of reasons. I think that the economy has like evolved like really quickly. Maybe not in the terms of like an individual lifetime, but COVID changed a lot. You had a lot of people staying at home. You know, earlier than that, you had like the Wall Street crash kind of like changed a lot of jobs and pensions and lives. I was working through like 2007, 2008, and I saw like all the 401k matches go away and everything. And then before that, you had like NAFTA. Just like you have like a lot of stuff changing, and I think that makes a lot of people anxious. And I think that when people are looking for kind of like, you know, where are the jobs going, or why does it feel like things are the way they are, I think that people point at different things, and I think immigration sometimes is like one of those things. The reason why the two things that I have an issue with the way that Trump talks about immigration is the first thing is, I always kind of say this is like a litmus test. If I were to tell you like 100,000 immigrants came in illegally last year, and then, you know, maybe somebody agrees with that and say, actually the number was 1 million, well actually it was 10 million, well actually it was 100 million, like would you actually even know what the number is? And I feel like not really, because I've watched Trump when he was running in the election against Biden, this most recent one. I think he said the number initially was 10 million, and I feel like every few months he adds like 5 million to that. The last number I heard him say was 25 million, which is a lot more people. And so I'm wondering like how many people actually got in is the first one, and then the second one is.
But doesn't that go to the Biden administration just allowing this to fester? Nobody really knows what the heck's going on down there. We see video of people just streaming across, a lot of people from Haiti just stuck under a bridge, 20,000 people, and then we're supposed to believe like there's not a problem? Like,
I mean, I think there is a problem, like obviously, but also like in a perfect world, like how many illegal immigrants do you think could reasonably get into the United States across the southern border?
well, I mean, I don't know, but I know that 20,000 Haitians don't just magically show up here. Like, there's a boat and planes, so like, where's our government that's supposed to be like handling that situation, not sticking them under a bridge?
Sure. I guess what I'm trying to say is that, like, I feel like there's always going to be some amount of legal immigration. You're always going to be able to find some video or some, you know, like evidence of somebody crossing illegally. But I feel like if illegal immigration was like the problem that Donald Trump sold it to everybody as, he would be doing a lot more to get people out rather than kind of, I feel like there's been a lot of empty platitudes. You know, like, oh, we'll give you $1,000 if you leave. And then I feel like the number wouldn't be changing all the time because it makes it feel like it's a little bit more fictitious. Like, I'm just kind of like putting, not to say that there's no problem at all with it, but it feels like if we can say there was 10 million and then 25 million, it's like, well, what is the actual number?
Well, I mean, I don't think it matters if a million we all agree we're supposed to be allowed to let in legally. If it's 2 million, 3 million, 10 million, 20 million, everybody should be outraged that this isn't what us as Americans agreed on. And why isn't Biden stopping it?
Yeah, I agree with that, but I feel like there is.
So what do you think? Do you think it was 2 million that came in, 3 million?
I think it's hard because you have to count like one of the big ways that a lot of people came in, I'd say illegally, was through like abusing the asylum seeking process. I think the initial number, like around like 9 to 10 million, might be correct over the Biden period. How many people came to claim for asylum and then they were handed the slip, and it's colloquially referred to as like catch and release. And then a lot of those people started to not show up for court dates and stuff. I think there's definitely an issue there. But like if it was a real issue, I feel like we should tackle it like a real issue. So like some kind of comprehensive like legislative package that gives you the ability to put more judges out to kind of like make more rulings on things rather than like this broad, he has like an EO to close the border and supposedly there have been now absolutely zero crossings, but we haven't done anything to get supposedly the 25 million people here out. But then nobody's talking about it anymore. I don't hear anybody talking about it anymore. It's like, so was it not that big of a problem, or what am I supposed to think about that?
Well, I think it's not a problem because nobody's coming across right now because he shut it down. But I do think it's been 100 days. Hopefully they put some legislation together. Obviously it's going to be a failure if they don't, and that'll be on Republicans, right? But
do you think that, like, what about like the 25 million or whatever that are supposedly here?
But Democrats were saying that wasn't a problem. Trump couldn't do it. Trump couldn't fix it. He did it, and then they just flip and start calling him racist. And so he doubles down, and now we got people getting rounded up at Home Depot. Like, it's the Democrats started this problem, allowed it to foster. Then Trump fixed it, and then they egg him on. They push his buttons, just like what happened to you on Piers Morgan. Like, you're set up, and of course you're going to just like lash back out. Like, it's not a rational emotion, but you're trapped. So that's what Trump does. Same thing you did. Like, it's not practical.
Well, one, Trump is the president of the United States of America, so he's got plenty of people
But
around
he's
him.
still human.
What?
He's still human, and like, of course, we know who he is. He's going to react and say stupid crap. Like, if you go
He's
to him.
human, but like if I was like in surgery and the doctor passed out because he saw my open body, I would be like, well, he's just human. It's like, well, no, he's a doctor. He should be ready to handle this job. You're the president of the United States. You've got a whole cabinet full of people. You've got advisors. You've got whole branches that are dedicated to helping you figure out what you should do. The issue I have is that like, yeah, if there are 25 million people here, why, like, what am I supposed to think? I'm on this end, and I've heard this is a huge problem, it's a huge problem, it's a huge problem, and then nobody's talking about it
There might not be a problem
anymore.
with 25 million people here, but acknowledge that it did happen, and let's address it in a non, like, you're racist type of way. Like, say, okay, let's get a pathway, or let's get them jobs, or get them green
Yeah,
cards.
but like, what has Trump proposed?
Well, how is he going to propose anything when the Democrats won't even acknowledge it was an issue, and that he just lies and makes up numbers,
Well, I
and
think-
there's not even an issue?
I think the Democrats acknowledged it was an issue. There was legislation that Biden tried to have pushed through at the end of his presidency, but Trump didn't want it to get through.
But that's not good faith. You admit that, right? Like, finally at the very end, when Biden's polls are dropping, he throws out some legislation, doubles the amount of people that can come in, and then says
it wouldn't double the amount, but also like somebody doing something in response to their polls dropping, isn't that the point? They're politicians. They're supposed to get elected. If the people want a thing and the polls are showing it, then you would hope that they would do that
to
thing,
then
right?
use it against Trump, like, oh, he doesn't care about the border. Like, that's just disingenuous in my view.
Well, I think it would be disingenuous if that legislation died because Trump said it would, and then once Trump came into office, then he passed it, but he didn't. Like, my prediction is by the end of the 4-year term.
He's not going to pass it because it called for almost double the numbers of what we agreed that should come in the first place.
No, I don't think that's how that works.
You know the numbers better. I'm not like, but tell me. So how many are we allowed in every month right now?
Sure. So the illegal
Without
immigrants, the
asylum,
number allowed in is 0, right? You're not supposed to have anybody.
illegal, but
the-
legally-
what they were going to do is they had it so that if the average, I don't even remember the numbers of this one, but I think it was like if it averaged out to over like 5,000 a day or something like that, it let them put like a moratorium to zero it out for like 2 weeks. Basically, if the numbers exceeded a certain amount, they could say no more for 2 weeks. We're allowed to like literally reject everybody. But people took that like 5,000 a day number and they were saying like, oh, they're making it so you can have 1.5 million illegal immigrants coming in every single year now because of the new numbers. But that wasn't really
Which right
how
now
it's
it's like 400,000 or something, right? It's allowed in, something like that.
well, I mean, it depends on how you count like illegal crossings versus like asylum seekers who are maybe abusing the process. Like, it's hard to count it exactly. But I mean, if you believe Trump, he said, like, do you believe the number has actually been 0 for the last 2 months?
I mean, not 0, but I mean,
That's what he
I
says,
don't
though,
think,
right? It's just absolute 0. Do you think the crime in DC is 0?
I think he's sending people back. I think he's catching them at the border and not letting them in, which I mean might be unconstitutional to your point, but not if we have a crisis.
But do you think Biden wasn't enforcing the border like at all?
No. Well, I mean, not really. I mean, I think the Border Patrol was so overwhelmed, they were helping process people throughout the country and getting them settled and getting the kids taken care of. Like, they did lose track of 300,000 kids. Like, those kids got shuffled off to another agency. That agency couldn't track them. Border Patrol couldn't find them when they had to go do their welfare checks like a year later. And so I'm sure they're not all trafficked kids, but nobody knows where the hell these 300,000 kids are.
So the 300,000 kid number, I don't think is exactly accurate. The way that it's portrayed is that 300,000 children were lost.
Right.
But I don't remember the exact, because it's been a
They're
long
not
time.
lost,
since
but they can't actually follow up with them to do their welfare check. The Border Patrol can't. So the other
So
agency...
the question would be, if at the end of these 4 years, if Trump hasn't done anything comprehensively with the border, would you consider what he's done so far a success? Because according to Trump, 25 million illegals came in. Basically, none have been shipped out.
Not if it just opens back up and we're at square one again.
Okay.
Then no.
Well, no, not opens it up. But even if he keeps it closed and nothing gets passed, if 25 million people came under Biden, 25 million, that's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
Supposedly, he says.
Yeah,
So,
I
but
don't-
if
I mean,
nothing happens in
I don't
4
think
years,
I'd buy into the 25 million number, but whatever. That's fine.
well, what do you think? What does it feel like the
I
number
think
is?
10 million people is like logical.
Okay, but if Trump doesn't get rid of any of them,
10 million's a lot of people. We don't need to say the 25 million. I mean, Trump says it because he likes to embellish everything.
he likes to lie.
He likes to embellish.
He likes to lie. That's a lie, right?
Yeah, but
If
he
my
might-
professor
but
embellishes
he
my
might believe
grade
it.
for me, that's
He might
cheating, right? Like-
I'm not going to call him a liar because he might have evidence I don't have. He might really believe there's 25 million. Like,
Does
just
Trump seem like the kind of guy who would
but
hide
I'm
evidence
saying
from the
I believe
public
10
that would
million is
bolster
just a
his-
belief. I'm not a liar if it's really 25 million.
Well, no, but I think it would be reasonable that you wouldn't have access to all the information, but Donald Trump
Right.
would, right? I think if he had the information, there's 25 million, I think he'd release it. My issue is that like right now, Trump has gone about, like even if I was fully bought into, let's say I was the most anti-illegal immigrant person ever, Trump is literally doing absolutely nothing except for the executive order closing the border to help me. He's making an enemy out of ICE in every single state. He's making an enemy out of all the governors. He hasn't done anything to deport any of the illegals here, really. Like it just seems like he's just working. There's no immigration legislation on the way.
He's being difficult, but you can't just give him the credit that he did shut the border down and stop that crisis that we were all dealing with for 4 years. Whether level you think it was, a 1 in your life or a 10, Trump came in there and did that. So it would be nice to hear somebody with your platform say, kudos on Trump, he at least stopped that. Now let's push him to do the responsible thing.
Well, because it's not.
But you just want to hate on him and hate on him and hate on him. And that's just more division, more division.
He's a very hateable person, and we can't complain about division when he literally causes it with every single speech he gives.
But why be like him then? Be the opposite of him. Like, be a problem solver. Don't be part of the problem.
I can't solve the problem because Democrats don't control any of the three branches of the government right now. There's no Supreme Court.
No, you do
there's
solve
no
the problem
Congress.
because
There's no
you
president.
motivate your base to go out there and change things.
Yeah, but we change it by getting elected, which starts with hating the other party.
See, you hate him too.
Yeah, of course I do.
No,
yeah, I think he's breaking the law. I think he's unconstitutional. I think
everybody's just criticizing Trump for hating the Democrats, and it's like that gets us nowhere.
I don't criticize Trump. There are people that are people that are okay to hate, right?
I don't think you need to hate the other person to win. You just have to
win.
You
don't need to hate anybody.
You win on better ideas and
execution. Would you hate a murderer?
No, you can hate people. That's fine. I'm not saying you can't hate.
But I think Trump conducts himself in a very hateable way.
I'm not saying you can't hate Trump, but you shouldn't hate Republicans, and I feel like you do. You literally go out and you hate Republicans.
Well, because I feel like they're engaged in a project that's like actively making every single part of our country worse.
But they feel the same way against liberals. And
yeah, but one of us is in reality and the other one's not.
Exactly. And so we both think we're in a reality. We're all in our own reality.
Well, so here, my prediction is at the end of these 4 years, there will be no immigration legislation. We're not going to talk about illegals basically at all, probably for the rest of Trump's term, except for whatever he does with ICE. And then as soon as the Democrats back in, we're going to hear about the caravans again. We're going to get the videos of the bridges again. And it just doesn't feel like a real issue if nobody's really taking it seriously. You said that he stopped them coming in, and that's great. But like if somebody, shoots someone in the stomach, they slap a bandage on him, they stop the bleeding. But like there's a whole problem there that he's not addressing or doing anything about. I think it's a huge issue.
I think your prediction has pretty good odds, but let's deal with reality right now. So we can both agree he stopped the border.
Sure.
Right. All right. That's it. Well, you're good. We agree on something.
But that's not. But he didn't solve the problem. Isn't the border? The problem is illegal immigration.
We can't solve your problem until we find out if he actually does the legislation over the next 4 years, which he's not. It has to be in the next year, basically.
Sure. I mean, he didn't do it in his first term, right? He hasn't even talked about it this term.
Well, I know, but we're beating a dead horse at this point. We
know Trump doing anything in office.
We know he closed the border, but we don't know if he's going to actually put the stuff down in writing. So let's wait and see. But
okay. Well, but I mean, like, if he doesn't do anything for the border, then I would say then that Trump was worse on the border than Biden, because Biden had legislation that everybody was ready to pass.
I'll agree with you. Yeah, he was worse because he convinced people to support him, and so he not only let them down, but he also left the border open. So I'll agree with you. He was worse than Biden if he doesn't get the border resolved.
Okay, we're gonna agree with that.
All right, man. Hey, it was nice meeting you.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, that was fun. First debater down. Stephen, I'm gonna ask you a question in between each debater. Do you promote, or have you ever promoted political violence?
When I played League of Legends, I did a lot. But that was, no, I mean, like, especially somebody that does events, I don't think political violence is good. I mean, it depends, I guess, on stretching, like, what do you mean by promoting? Like, I think that there are, I don't like the way this question is phrased. There was a poll that went out recently, and it had to do with like, would you support violence for political ends, or would you support political violence? And it was after the Charlie Kirk shooting, and I think liberals, I want to say, were at like 25%, and conservatives were at like 3% or something. It was really low. But like the way that you phrase that question, I think is a little interesting, because if you ask a lot of conservatives, like, why do we have a Second Amendment? They'll say, well, that's to fight against like a tyrannical government. It's like, well, that sounds like political violence. In that case, I feel like 99% of conservatives would be in favor of it. The reality is basically close to 100% of people are in favor of political violence. It just depends on what the government is doing, right?
This is why I asked the question, because everyone's, I see probably millions of people talking about you, saying that you promote political violence, but I agree with you. I think everyone does. It depends who we're promoting it against. I mean, I was promoting political violence against leaders of Hamas, for example, after October 7th, or around that time when I found out. So I think there are varying degrees of political violence, but I think there's a lot of misinformation out there about the things you say, and people twisting them into thinking you are, in fact, promoting political violence against those that talk about ideas that you detest.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like, there's a lot of 30-second clips about me. I always say, like, I don't make content in 30 seconds. But I mean, if you listen long form, and I wouldn't even say you don't have to listen to a video. You can just go to my community. You can look. Like, we don't really talk about the revolution or engaging in political violence. Most of the stuff that I talk about is like political violence is a result of something is horrendously failing in your democracy, of people having to kill each other over the words that they're saying. And I think that's like it shows a lot of failures in society. If that's what people are turning to. The one clip that Jesse Waters and everybody ran with recently was me saying that conservatives need to be afraid or whatever when they go out. The reason why I said that, and I mean I said it in much of that video, and it applies to everybody. I don't say it about liberals because I think liberals are kind of afraid, is that when people are operating without fear, you do a lot of stupid things, right? When you're like on a meth bender and you're running out into traffic, it's because you think cars can't hurt you. That's not okay.
That's why people kept sending me that clip. I probably received it probably 500 times, I would say, after that was going around and going viral. And I analyzed it, and I thought you were promoting the idea that you think it's good that they are afraid of
everybody,
a particular
because
thing.
the problem is that like people,
so you were promoting fear,
what kind,
not
there's like
not violence.
There's a healthy sense of well, here's what I'll say. People like romanticize a lot the concept of like revolution and civil war and all these things, and they're not like romantic, or they're not sexy, or they're not fun, or they're not awesome. Like, these are really horrible things to be happening. There's a lot of, I mean, I can't speak from firsthand, but you can look at Ukraine, you can look at, Israel or Gaza, really. Like, these are not fun events to be in, and everybody should be afraid of a reality where, like, it's just normal to kill each other for political beliefs, which to some extent over the last 5 years, we're kind of sort of, I don't want to say we're at that point, but like we're having a lot of politically oriented or related assassinations. And when I see one side, like when I look at Barack Obama and Biden, all these people are saying like violence is unacceptable. When Biden made his statements after the Trump shooting, and when Biden is increasing Secret Service and security for Trump after Iranian assassination threats and everything, right? It's like, okay, cool. This is a guy who seems like he doesn't want political violence. When I see all the conservatives are spamming like civil war, like all this crazy stuff, on Twitter and everything, I'm like, I don't understand. Like, are you guys like looking forward to this? Like, there should be a healthy amount of apprehension or fear of like us actually descending to that point.
Promoting civil war is promoting violence directly, is it not?
Yeah, but like worse than that, it's like promoting it in like this really childlike, naive, like invincible kind of way. Like, none of us should want that world.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Okay. Well, time for round 2. Let's get Mr. Justin Gibbs to the stage. Let's put it together for Mr. Gibbs.
Okay.
All right.
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All right, so I kind of wanted to talk about a topic that's close to me because I feel like most voters vote local.
Okay.
All right, and so it's kind of going to include some of the immigration, some of the tariffs. So I'm a rancher, and Trump is the best president that we've had in the last 70 years for ranchers. What do you have something to say to people like us who are excited about what Trump's doing with the tariffs? And
Ranchers that doesn't include like ordinary agriculture? Is that just animal ag or?
Yeah, specifically the cattle. I mean, I'm not a farmer, so I can't speak to that, but I can speak to ranchers.
Sure, because I know he's been horrible for farmers in his first term and right now in this term. The soybean thing that just happened with Venezuela, I think, was
well,
really
I mean,
bad.
part of that's also the overregulation with what they've done with alfalfa and they've done with grain. I mean,
No, it was
corn
due to
subsidies.
Trump's tariffs and horrible negotiation
No.
skills and getting outplayed completely by China. Yeah.
I mean, well, we can look with ranching due to gestation periods. We can see specifically that over the next 2 years, we're going to have a turn. We're going to go from being the lowest herds that we've ever had to actually starting to be able to grow again and be competitive in the market. And, all these policies that Trump's put forth have been very beneficial to us. The trade deal with the UK specifically being one, some of these other trade deals, cutting out other countries like Paraguay, which was opened up with Biden. I mean, why do y'all hate ranchers?
Why do I hate what?
Why does the left seem to hate ranchers?
Well, I don't know if the left hates ranchers. Trump hasn't made any trade deals with any countries yet, so I don't know what trade deals you're referring to when you talk about the UK or anybody. All Trump has done is increase the tariffs to basically every country on the planet right now, so I don't know how that's helping.
Well, that's not true. The UK just agreed to get rid of restrictions and match USDA requirements regarding beef, and so they agreed to get rid of the restrictions on how much beef they've included. That's something I
They
know
might
for
have
a fact
agreed in
that's
a
happened.
speech, but there hasn't been any like deal formalized yet. Like these are all like skeletons of plans, and we're still waiting for something.
Well, I mean, that's better than nothing. You just talked about how, with the border, right? You just talked about how, they just slapped a thing on there and then, we haven't finished the job. Well, at least we got something started. Before, it was just continuous bleeding. Would you agree that getting some kind of start is better than no start at all?
No, because we're starting 1,000 feet behind the starting line because Trump started by tariffing the entire planet for no reason.
Yeah, because they've been taking advantage of the great United States.
They haven't been taking advantage of us.
Yeah,
Our economy
absolutely.
is destroying the rest of the world. So we're the biggest economy on the planet.
Yeah, exactly. So they should be paying for access to that.
Part of the
exclusivity.
reason why we're the biggest economy on the planet is because they don't have to pay for access. We have open and free trade.
Yeah, but listen, everybody wants to be a Walmart. That's great and all, but eventually Walmart has to up its cost if there's no kind of benefits to them making money. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Part of the
capitalism.
reason why everybody wants to go to Walmart, though, is because everybody can go to Walmart. As soon as you start making it restrictive and you start putting tariffs and other people start counter-tariffing you, nobody wants to go to your place.
Yeah, but whenever you have to pay all these different things with Walmart specifically, right? Like there's a reason why Walmart's closed down in certain neighborhoods due to crime and theft because it becomes not profitable. Right now we're running with the biggest deficit we've ever run, and it's time to make some changes. And specifically with ag and ranching, we're actually seeing benefits and changes that are benefiting ranchers, especially with the border control. It's helping to stop the screwworm infestation in Mexico from coming here. If that comes to Mexico, the beef industry collapses completely because of the small herds. I mean, why would we not want this kind of security? Why wouldn't we want these trade deals to benefit Americans?
We don't have any trade deals yet, so I can't really speak
What
to...
do you mean we don't have trade deals? They're announcing trade deals all the time. Stuff is finalized.
Yeah,
They're
and
starting the
we're
process.
always 2 weeks away from them.
Nah, that's convenient. I mean, it's not always 2 weeks away.
It is always 2 weeks away. That's why there's not a single trade deal. The UK
Well,
trade deal is not done yet.
I'm specifically citing the UK. They've already come back and said we're relaxing restrictions on American beef. We're going to match American. That's a change. That's like maybe it's not a formalized trade deal, but whenever it's accomplished a goal, that's basically essentially a trade deal in all but name.
Yeah, the name is important. That's why it's called a deal.
Yeah, but
Like if I were to tell you that like I have a mortgage on my house, like I'm good to go, like I've got everything done except the bank just hasn't like signed it yet. Well, that doesn't mean anything then, right?
Sure, but if I go buy a car cash, if I go in there and I'm like, hey, I want this jalopy, and they're like, hey, okay, cool, and I give them $2,000 or whatever, and they give me the car, and I don't have to sign anything except for the title. I mean, that's the same thing.
Yeah, but if they didn't give you the title, you wouldn't feel like you owned the car, right?
I mean, maybe, depends.
You
on how
would
old the
give
car
them
is.
all the cash, you'd drive out with the car, you'd
but
leave the title at the car dealership?
Yeah, but maybe if I get the car dealership, I mean, I would say if they're really getting rid of the restrictions and I have the title, that's the same as the title. It's basically essentially the same.
Yeah, the reality of the situation is that Trump has just been horrible for trade in every respect. I don't know how anybody who likes free trade or thinks that trade is beneficial to the United States.
It's great to sit here and try to say, oh, we're pro-free trade, we're pro-capitalist, and that's like, you have this envision, this idea that all the people on the right are just these anarcho-capitalists, which isn't true. We want trade that's going to benefit us, and right now we've been taking advantage of it, especially in the beef
Why do we
industry.
think we've been taken advantage of?
Well, because I know for a fact that the reason we're losing beef, we've had beef cattle herds go further down, is because other countries have taken over our market. Under the Biden administration, we've not been able to compete fairly at the international level. We have all sorts of border problems because we have all these different
Let's
diseases
just
come up
focus-
into the cattle farm.
You think that beef failed under the Biden
And the corn
admin?
subsidies have been a
Why
problem.
How did Biden make beef fail in a way that Trump didn't protect
Well,
in the
that's
first 4
easy.
years?
Well, one, Trump has already got rid of some of the subsidies, like the corn subsidies. He's cracked down on illegal immigration. So, if you know anything about ranching, then 97% of the United States ranches aren't family-owned. That's something that's very important to this. And when I look, there's a small percentage, maybe the top 5%, that have most of the base for this production, and those people are all feeding unfairly by using illegal immigration labor, and then whenever they get busted, they just use, pay the fine and don't care. And with this bust, it's basically helped the mom and pop, which is 97% of the ranches, so about the 80% that's not these select 10%.
I don't understand. Wouldn't a legal immigrant labor help family farmers keep their costs more competitive so they'd make more money? Is that the whole
because
reason
we
they
can't-
hire illegal immigrants?
No, because as a regular farmer, I can't go and afford, a regular rancher, I can't go and afford to pay the fine that a massive corporate-owned or family corporate-owned, basically, ranch can. They can just pay the fine, hire new immigrants. I can't do that. I have to go through the legal process. I have to hire legal people because they come and check us and come and get us if we do that.
Okay, but then all I'm saying is at the end of the day, this is going to end up raising your costs, so it feels like you're going to be less
No, it's going to
competitive
make
in
us
the global
competitive.
market anyway, no?
It's going to make it competitive costs. Like, if one person has an advantage the other has, that's not good at all. Isn't that what they all want to do with DEI? You want to get rid of a competitive advantage that a certain group has?
Okay, hold on. Just as a baseline, you acknowledge that like a tariff is a tax paid by an importer, right?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, you know that a trade deficit doesn't mean that we're being taken advantage of by another country, right?
Sure, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's partially part of that, though.
Well, not how.
Because if you're sitting here having to compete in that unfair advantage, you're going to have to offset it in some way in the trade deficit and all sorts of other deficits. Here in the
Wait,
United States.
why is it an unfair? Maybe we just have more money to spend.
What, do you have just more money to spend? I mean, let's go back to what I was just talking about, though, real quick. You just asked why it would be fair to, like, the regular guy versus the other. Okay, cool. If you can look at the tariff argument and say, okay, maybe these people pay more taxes, but if it eliminates the bigger net negative, which is like the illegal immigrants working for these ranches have a certain special advantage that most ranches don't have. Other countries taking advantages when it comes to production. Like, these are all benefits that we've gained since Trump has taken office that was on a steady decline under the last 3 or 4 presidents.
When you say other countries are taking advantage of us because they can sell us things for cheap, I think that's like a truism that's just given, but it doesn't really logically follow. Inflation is increasing again at a faster rate than it was before. Our trade deficit is exploding. Trump did absolutely nothing to bring it down. Now we're paying a whole new category of tax that we barely paid before, which is the tariffs. We're having to bail out our soybean farmers now because we just got cracked over the head with China and Venezuela. Like the idea that there's all this help coming through because he closed the border, although apparently 25 million illegals are already in here. Like, I don't see where the help is.
I could give you an example, though, right? So this is kind of the, like, bait and switch that the leftist seems to like to do, right? First of all, I go, oh, tariffs are all bad. And then I want to bring up other things like the trade deals, and you'll say, oh, they don't happen. But when I say it, I go, oh, hey, look, the UK is now matching American standards. It's a little bit of a bait and switch because you go, oh, they haven't taken advantage of. Then I go and look at Europe, and I go look at Australia, and I go look at, the UK, and they have all these extra standards on beef that restricts us and doesn't allow us to sell over there in their markets. They're able to import over here, and we're not able to export there. That's an unfair advantage. You could say they're not reciprocal, but, well, we don't even have an option to go in there and sell because they're sitting here excluding us. And they're like, oh, maybe it's technically not a tariff, but the tariff is forcing them to react and change their policies at the local level, which benefits us here. So it's kind of like, it's not a direct one-to-one comparison. I'm sure you
I think if I
understand
heard
that.
more conversation about like these particular standards, maybe I'd be more amenable to it. But the problem is Trump speaks so broadly, and then conservatives never actually detail any of these things. Like, it's okay for different markets to have different standards for different things. That's fine, right?
Sure.
What was the FDA? There was some drug that they didn't approve a long time ago that was approved in Europe. I wish I could remember the name of it, but women would take it when they were pregnant and their babies were coming out like 7 arms or something. It was a bad drug that didn't get approved over here. It was approved in Europe, but like there are different standards in different countries for different things sometimes. Like the idea that somebody might have a different standard for beef and then so we can't export to that market as much, at least not all of our beef. I don't know if that's necessarily inherently exploitative. It can. There are some standards like that are set up to be exploitative. But also, if Trump wanted to negotiate these, he said it himself, we have the largest, hottest economy in the world. Why would we have to start with a global tariff and then work from there?
It's because it's sending a message, and then these people come back and they make more fair deals. They get rid of the
They
tariffs.
haven't made any deals yet, though.
They've made all sorts of deals.
We
We've
have
got
zero
deals with
deals.
Panama. We got deals with the UK.
We have
several-
zero deals.
What are you saying? We don't have zero deals when they've been announced. We've had the prime minister.
Yes, we've had announcements. He's talked. That's all Trump can do is talk. You know, the deal we did have was the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade deal from Trump.
Sure.
He blew that up. So we have no deals.
Yeah,
Negative deals.
So wait, so that's interesting you bring that up. Do you disagree that, like, okay, things change within a period of time? So I've heard people on the left, like yourself, sit here and advocate that this is just a massive failure that Trump came out here to. You just advocated earlier that, oh, hey, this guy, he's a politician. He's going to adjust to what the people want. Trump's a politician. He's saying, oh, this deal failed. Let's adjust. Let's get something new in there. Let's do something else. Now he's trying the stick instead of the carrot, and it seems to be working.
It's not working, though. Inflation is increasing. Our exports and import markets are hurt right now. The treasury yields are increasing. The world economy is losing faith in the United States. Like, basically every conceivable metric, we're worse off than we were before. The budget is out of control. The one big beautiful bill massively. Our government is being shut down again. Like, everything is failing. I don't know where all the success is coming from.
Like I said, I can point specifically to the beef industry as one of the industries that is growing. And this is kind of the misnomer I think y'all are talking about. We've been a service industry nation for a while now, and it looks like we're trying to move back to more of a manufacturing and production nation. And I think this is one of the major ones. If the beef industry fails, that's a national security crisis. Like, first thing that happens if you lose your food supply, and that's going to be a bad thing.
Cheeseburgers are the only food supply in the United States?
You act like that's funny. That's a good one, though. But here's the thing. Like, I used to be able to go get, a thing of fajitas, some skirt steak, a couple pounds of it, 99 cents a pound. Now it's $14 a pound, right? And, that's crazy, and it's bad. And that's due to exactly because of the Biden-era policies under soy, the Biden-era policies under alfalfa, the Biden-era policies under corn. All these subsidies made people switch, and all of a sudden now we didn't have feed, herds shrunk. We had these unfair deals with these other countries, and now, hey, if we have this screwworm infestation and have a porous border, which we know a porous border causes causes infestations of these screwworms and other kind of diseases into our beef market. If we don't have this secured, it's going to be bad. And under Biden, we didn't have any of that. And under Trump, we've secured it, just like the gentleman that just went before me said, and you agreed. So, like, how can you say this is a net bad for some of these industries when we're in a transitionary period?
Well, if we're transitioning backwards, I guess it's a net good if we're trying to regress economically and security-wise. But like, if you care about national security, Trump has been worse on national security in like almost every conceivable metric.
Wait, do you think going backwards into production and manufacturing is actually you think that's going backwards, I guess is what you're saying?
When people speak derogatorily about like service-type economies and then they want to step back into manufacturing, that's a regression.
See, I disagree. You know, I hear a lot of people, I guess they want to go backwards to a time where they had more money in their pocket. Like, I hear all these people that were big union guys going, hey, you know, I miss working at the factory, making $30 an hour. Why can't we get back to factories? I hear ranchers talk about, oh, you know, I remember in the 50s, which is crazy that they're talking about the 50s when they had larger herds, you know, beef prices were way down. Even in the 90s, beef prices weren't as egregious as now, but they're still flying up, and it's because of all the bad lefty policies where they're
That's fine, but like
overregulated.
in the 1500s, if you knew the Pythagorean theorem, you were the smartest guy in your math class. Like, times change. It doesn't, like, you can't just say
what
that
does
we
that
can
have
just,
to do with anything?
because
I mean,
going backwards to a manufacturing economy, that might have been good 50 to 100 years ago when the entire world was doing like manufacturing and was working that way. But you can't, like, no economy. You can't give me a single example of an economy anywhere on the planet that
that's
regressed
ludicrous.
economically.
That's ludicrous to argue that you were the smartest person in the room just because you knew the Pythagorean theorem. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, which is
What
the
is an economy that is
explosion
what
of
is
the
an
beef
economy that's going
prices
backwards from service to manufacturing? Like, who are you jealous of economically? Who do you think does better than the United
I
States
mean,
economically?
we could be doing better. I mean, China's exploding at one of the quickest rates. They're doing a lot of manufacturing. We're seeing all
What
these
is
other
China?
countries.
What is China trying to expand the most into, though? What does Trump complain? They steal our intellectual property. They have things like TikTok. They're expanding in green energy. They're expanding
Sure,
their
they're
relations
doing
with
all
every other
those
country on the
things.
planet. They're expanding like all of their tech industry. They're not trying to do
you
more
think-
manufacturing.
you
They're
think
trying to
tech-
do more service.
Do you think tech is only service, producing tech? I mean, right now we can't even make missiles. We can't even make phones. We're running out of the supplies to sit here and get the rare
What are we
earth
talking? We
minerals.
can't make missiles.
Yeah, we don't have the
We
tech.
literally bombed like Iranian
Sure.
nuclear plants, and they didn't even know about it until Trump went on the
Yeah,
media
that's
and
with
made
what
an
we
announcement
already
about
had.
it.
We already had those.
Okay, so we can bomb things. I think we're doing okay there.
You
Like-
disagree with the Biden administration, the reason why they put forth the CHIPS Act in the first place then? So
Wait,
you're going
no, I
against
think
your
the
own
CHIPS
party
Act
'cause-
is fine. I think there are certain things that we can incentivize here.
Oh, so then you are pro-manufacturing then? You
I
just
never
aren't
said I
pro-
was anti-manufacturing. What I took issue with was you attacking service.
I mean, okay. I mean, listen here. We saw COVID. It became the gig economy. Became just service economy. That's bad. I mean, I don't know anybody that could sit here and just make a living wage off of just working Uber or Uber Eats or DoorDash or anything. Nobody can live like that. They have to do this. They have to work the regular job and they have to work one of these in the side jobs to sit here and get by. If we could return to manufacturing, people can work their 9 to 5s, 40 hours a week, and get back to only having to work 40
Do
hours a
you,
week.
you
instead of having
acknowledge
two
that those
jobs.
jobs are never coming back like that, right? Like
Some
every
of them
time you say
can.
that, you're selling a lie to
They're
people. That
only
will
coming
never,
back-
ever be
They're
the
never
case that you can put a door on a car and make a living wage doing that. That will never be the case again in any part of the world.
I mean, how are you intending that we're going to automate, say something like ranching? There's no way you can automate ranching. What are they going to have?
Farming uses more like automation and advanced machinery. Like, do you think that people that do agriculture like go out with their scythes and chop the
No,
crops?
I think as somebody that's done agriculture my entire life, I mean, I feel like I have a pretty good idea. I don't think there's any robot that can go out there and kill snakes currently that keep my cattle from being poisoned. I don't think there's a robot right now that can go kill a mountain lion or a coyote that's eating a calf. No, I don't think there's going to be a robot that can build my fence for me currently. No, I'm sorry, there's just no way you can sit here and automate that. Maybe at a feedlot, but that's the second tier part of the production when it comes
Hold
to
on,
ranching.
so I can understand it. You're saying that the process of building a fence today is the same as it was 50 years ago?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, that's not my experience on any of this, but okay.
I mean, the only difference is maybe we have a post hole digger so we can do it faster. I mean, even then, that's still something that's been around 30 years.
Okay, when it comes to manufacturing things, there's never going to be a world where we have like the old like the Detroits, like the car manufacturing plants, where like an ordinary person can do kind of like.
What about aerospace? What about just like we were talking about chips
Even
manufacturing?
aerospace. I mean, look, you're not. These are all like robot automated jobs.
Shipbuilding, that's another one we need. China's outbeating us in shipbuilding. There's all these different industries that are definitely going to be having to be built here if we build the tariffs, and it is transitory. And I don't transitory.
You think that we're going to go back to a world where you've got people that are manually putting these things together and making a living wage doing it? We're going to be competitive with the rest of the world on this?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think we're going to be able to be more competitive because lately with the service economy, what do we make? We make nothing. And when you make nothing, you're worth nothing.
What do you mean by you make nothing?
I mean, if you're just the service industry, if you're only able to sit here, say you're a waiter at a restaurant, right? That's service industry. You would agree with that?
Yeah, but
Okay.
like people also consider like
Sure.
programmers
So-
like service. I mean,
Sure,
what do
I
you-
mean, yeah, there's going to be a lot. Let's say you're a waiter at a restaurant, for example, right? The only way you have to sit here and serve that burger, that $8 burger you were talking about, is if someone's able to make the beef, to get the beef there, and then they produce it, they like manufacture it, they feed it, all this good stuff, butcher it. You have to have all these different lines in the line of production in order for the service industry to work. And what you're proposing is, oh, let's just kill the beef industry. We don't need that going forward. We're going to sit here and just import this beef, and then, oh, if we ever have any kind of trade problems with these people and they cut it off, oh, suddenly now the service worker's out of job because they can't get beef for their
So do you
burger
think like
place.
Microsoft is like a nothing company?
I mean, you think Microsoft is a service company or do you think they're a production company? Because they're both.
What do you mean by what do you consider production?
I mean, they're building computers. Do you think they're building computers? They build
Does
software.
Microsoft build computers?
I mean, they used to. I mean, I'm not sure if they do. I'm
I'm
thinking,
pretty sure they
yeah.
have Azure. They're like servers and stuff that you can rent space out of, but this is all like service electronic stuff, and they do like software or like Amazon, AWS is
I mean,
all
are
like
you calling
software. Like, do you think it's like
software?
fake stuff?
I mean, I guess software would be service, but I mean, just because you have that doesn't mean you don't need HP building it, or like Texas Instruments building TI-83s, or Texas Instruments building computers, or
Sure,
I mean,
but it's
all sorts of companies.
Like, is
Dell.
there an example of any other country on the planet that has gone back to, or whose economy that you think we should emulate, who's doing better than us, who does less service and more
Well,
manufacturing?
why would we want to emulate another country when we're the world leaders? I feel like we should lead the way and go back to manufacturing.
Do you see what you just said? We should lead the way and go back.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That doesn't
Because
compute to
what's
me.
going on right now is not working. It's
What was
politically-
going on was we were dominating the entire world economy. We came out of COVID stronger and better than every other economy on the
Since
planet.
when?
Since what do you mean? Since when? Since
I
when?
mean, it's arguably the whole reason why I think Mr. Pangburn over here brought up Hassan earlier as a joke. I mean, Hassan's always talked about multipolarity. I mean, if anything, the multipolarity people are getting stronger because we're sitting here not doing manufacturing. We're the weakest we've been in 200 years almost.
Our manufacturing has increased. The output of manufacturing in the U.S. has increased like pretty solidly.
In what industries? Like a few like specific ones? Well, major industries of like.
I mean, we
shrunk?
probably don't manufacture the same things anymore, but we do like end-stage manufacturing better than most other countries on the planet.
So
but
you-
we'd rather be making like the widget monster than making the widgets.
Well, you yourself just brought up at the beginning of this conversation the soy industry, right? The soy, how it got devastated by some of Trump's policies, okay? And then how there's having all these problems. Well, that's manufacturing that's gone backwards. You didn't seem to have a problem when something like soy was doing well, but now that ranching's doing well, now it's a problem.
Why would it be a problem if they're doing well?
wasn't
My
doing
issue
well.
is that conservatives, for some reason, you guys view everything on the planet as like some zero-sum game where the only way to make gains is to destroy some other part of the economy or to destroy some other part of the world in order to have some piece of the pie for themselves. But like you can talk
No,
about
you-
these things
you
like
gotta-
manufacturing is being destroyed. Why did Elon Musk start Tesla and start SpaceX? Why did he start that in the United States if our manufacturing is so horrible?
Well,
and when he did
one-
start that in the U.S., it's not like did he put together a whole bunch of blue-collar workers in the Uber factories to build the rockets and the cars?
I can't speak to Elon Musk and why he wants to be a patriot and build jobs here in America or return us to space. I don't know all that, but I'll tell you this. When I'm sitting here seeing people sit here and complain about, oh, the soy industry collapsing, or I'm seeing other industries popped up, like the corn industry propped up by subsidies, while, the beef industry languishes and rots on the vine, I sit here and go back to what I said in the beginning. I think it's not that Republicans think it's a zero-sum game. I think it's that we sit here and look and we go, we vote local, right? And whenever I'm having my fences damaged by coyotes coming across, bringing people illegally, or I'm having people sit here getting unfair advantages because they can pay to have illegal workers and pay the fine, hire new people, and then I'm having things like the other countries sit here and have unfair regulations that we can't compete with while we have tariffs on our beef or numbers. I think it's pretty clear that the left, for the last 20 years at least, hasn't cared about people like me. And so when I go and vote, I don't know, it's kind of like a big FU all of a sudden when we're doing good and everybody else is like, oh no, it's so bad. And it's like,
I mean, you can say that, but like the reality is on every single issue you listed, Trump has failed, will continue to fail, and by the end of his term will have failed on every single one of those issues. Costs are increasing for everything. Tariffs are hurting every single consumer, disproportionately middle class and worse. The
Stock
budget is
market's at
getting
all-time
spiraling.
high.
What?
Stock market's at all-time highs, hitting record highs. Beef
I'm sorry,
prices
stock
are
market? What happened to voting local? Do you think the stock
Sure,
market
but I
represents
can
the
go back
average
to voting
person's?
local.
Like,
Beef
yes,
prices, like I said, are
stock
up
markets were at
record
all-time high
high.
under Biden. Would you say that Biden had a great economy?
Yeah, the highest under Biden is like the highest under Biden is the lowest it's been under Trump. So I guess you're
Yes,
giving
welcome
credit
to the
that Trump
stock
didn't
market. It
benefit.
goes up.
Yeah, I mean, no, it doesn't. What do you mean? We have crashes all the time.
Yeah, and then it goes up. The last like 3 or 4
Yeah,
years
sure.
of
I mean,
Obama's
that's a
presidency
tip.
was all-time highs before Trump came in, and then Trump was all-time highs, and then COVID happened, and then Biden was all-time highs. And guess what? By the end of Trump's term, it'll be all-time highs. And guess what? After the next president, it'll also be all-time highs. That's how the stock market works.
Yeah, but whenever we talk about inflation, we can go and look at like average costs going in there, right? Like right now with beef, like I said, it's going to take 2 years for things to like level out and the cost to be passed on to consumers and it go down. But if we continue under the same policy policies win, the beef prices are just going to keep flying up. As soon as it's going to be $30 for your $8 burger at the rate it's going. You know, we're at an all-time high for beef prices. Yeah, that's great for a seller's market, but it's really bad for everybody else. And so when I'm sitting here looking at what you're saying, you know, yeah, gas right now where I'm at, you know, it's like $2.30, right? You know, I'm sure it's higher in some places like California. Why don't we look at where it's higher and where it's lower? And it's clear that the places with more regulation are way, way higher. So
So at the end of Trump's term, when inflation is higher than it should be, when costs are higher than they should be, are we still going to blame Biden for that? Because inflation is higher now. It's coming higher and higher and hotter than it should have been. The Fed is going to have to, unfortunately, they're going to have to lower rates now because inflation is, not only is inflation increasing, unemployment is increasing too. Like on every economic indicator we have, every market indicator we have is looking worse and worse.
Hold on, you're sitting there saying unemployment is up. Yeah, well, cool. That's great and all, maybe. But it's more also at the same, when I look at this, I heard, oh, unemployment's great for all these people. And then you find out, oh, well, they included all these people that work like 18 hours a week as employed and whatnot. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not employment.
Well, that's not how unemployment is calculated.
Yeah, it was under one of the things.
No, it wasn't.
That's why under the Biden, they keep having to revise the job reports. We figured out they're lying. And there's
Revising the job reports have nothing to do with-
no trust from the left right now. Y'all lied about his health. Y'all lied about jobs reports repeatedly. We know for a fact
Well, there's
these
no
were
trust
lies.
from the left because Trump himself will openly lie about everything.
But this is something I can look like. I'm not even a super huge pro-MAGA guy. I'm like a Texas Republican. We don't trust big government. And then when I sit here and I look and I sit here and you go, oh, yeah, Trump's lied about everything. Then I see the stuff he's done. And then I go, oh, it's the highest jobs they've ever been. And then I go, oh, okay, well, look, let's see. Why did they just sit here and cut out, 100,000 jobs from the last Biden report? Or why'd they cut 300,000? And every time the Biden jobs report came out, it was cut. Under Trump, we haven't seen those things. We've seen very small corrections, if at all. And so it looks like, yeah, maybe it's slower, but it's also not inflated fake numbers the way that you're sitting here pertaining, putting out there.
So you believe the numbers under Trump, but you don't believe the numbers under Biden?
I'm just saying if they're from the same agencies,
You believe the numbers under Trump, but you don't believe the numbers under Biden?
No, what I'm saying, well, hold on. The Biden numbers under Biden that I'm quoting are the same numbers that came out. First, he put one out for the jobs report, and then several times, each time under Biden, those jobs reports got revised. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, job report revisions are pretty common. Yeah, they happen.
Okay, yeah, and when they're substantial, and you go all the whole time, hey, buddy, this is the highest jobs we've ever had, and then 3 months later, the revision comes out, and it's 1 million people lower or 300,000 lower, and it's not the highest. Well, that's a lie. Would you agree? You just said it's exaggerating. It's a lie.
So I don't think the revisions were as drastic under Biden. I think one of the reasons for a lot of the revisions under Trump is because Trump has done a lot of self-inflicted harm on the economy that nobody was expecting and the markets have had to adjust for. For instance, the global tariffs that were completely brainless that have done nothing but damage to the United States economy and reputation abroad.
So wait, just to be clear, you're saying that exaggerating the numbers under Biden is different than Trump exaggerating, saying...
I don't think they're exaggerating. When they do the prospective job numbers, they collect it from the census and then they get the later report. Yeah, I know, learning about how the data works is frustrating. That's why Trump wants to fire guys and put in guys to give him the answer
it is frustrating. Whenever you're the average American, I run up several businesses. It's not very hard for me to sit here and go, oh, I did this. If I go to my investors and I tell them, hey, guess what? Our numbers are actually, 300% lower than what I actually told you in, 3 months ago. Yeah, that's going to be outrageous. Or I lose, we made $300,000 less this month than we actually told you we made. But now that we've done revisions, they're going to go, that's a lie, and they're going to want to pull funds. So whenever you're sitting here going, oh, it's not the same. It's frustrating how numbers work. Yeah, it is frustrating to the average Americans who are wise to this game now. I just don't understand how you can sit here and say it's not an exaggeration or whenever that's exactly what's happening.
Because they do revisions because the first numbers they get are different than after they verify them on the second batch. They're pulled from different. I think one comes from some census-related thing, the other comes from some final jobs reports-related thing from companies. I don't know exactly how they calculate it, but there are always adjustments. There have always been revisions.
Yeah, sure, but that's a lie, especially when you sit here and you run on, oh, we have the best jobs ever, and then you're going to sit here running the Trump presidency.
Because under Biden, the job economy was very hot. Yes.
No, fake news. And when we sit here, and I want to talk about what you just said. You sat here and said, hey, we're going to sit here and get, the inflation rate, if it's the highest it's ever been. Well, I can't remember a government in recent memory that didn't have inflation rates go up. But if he slows the inflation rate, and it looks like it is drastically slowing.
It's not slowing. It's beating now. I think 2.9 was what it came in under, and it was supposed to be like 2.4. So it's increasing, which we would expect as the tariffs are increasing.
I mean,
everything.
I don't know. I'm seeing 2.4 from multiple sources regularly right now. That's what they're estimating they're going to be at the end of the year. So, I don't know. I guess we have different sources on that one. But if there are 2.4 and it did slow the growth, then hell yeah, that's exactly what we want, isn't it?
I mean, if the inflation is coming in hotter than we would expect it to, and it's coming in hotter for literally no reason besides the fact that Trump is adding costs to everything by tariffing the entire world for no reason, I think, no, that's not what we want. We had an economic contraction for quarter one for absolutely no reason.
2.9% is bad. Whenever Biden came in, we had a 25% to 50% increase almost inflation.
Where was the Biden inflation from?
What was the Biden inflation from?
Yeah.
It's terrible mismanagement in all these different industries.
What was the Biden inflation from?
Are you going to blame COVID? Is that what you're about to try to blame?
Don't we blame COVID for Trump's disastrous fourth year? Does it only work for Trump?
I mean, I'm not sitting here. I'm making claims based off what I'm seeing.
Wait,
And,
where do you
Trump
think the
had a
majority of the inflation happened due to under Biden's administration?
Yeah, I would argue that, all the extra checks got sent out. I didn't even like it when Trump sent out checks. But whenever they're sending out all these checks, yeah, that's going to drastically inflate things. Whenever you have people sending out, all these different checks going out and no one has to work and you can just go spend money like play money, of course the prices and inflation is going to go up. Do you disagree?
So we had COVID was a huge thing, right? We had to do some kind of stimulus for the economy. And then we also had the Ukraine war breakout, which did a lot for shipping and prices of stuff globally as well for a bit, right? So he had to deal with those two things. For the most part, by the end of his term, inflation was, I think it was sub 3 points. When Trump came in, everything was running fine. We had an economic contraction in quarter 1 for no reason. And now we've had inflation starting to tick upwards again for no reason.
If we look historically throughout history at all the different countries, every time we've had like a giant inflation increase, look at like 1920s Germany, right? Or even Venezuela now, what do? They do stimulus packages and they kept sending out tons of extra cash, all these stimulus bonuses, all this money, and they flood the market. And all of a sudden, about a year later, 6 months later, suddenly that money's not worth anything because inflation's through the roof. That's exactly what happened under Biden. And,
Really?
Trump
Under
slowed
Biden,
down.
the USD wasn't worth anything?
Yeah, it's gone way down. Are you disagreeing that the U.S. dollar?
The only thing that was damaging faith in the U.S. dollar was Trump's crazy tariff plan.
No, that's not true.
It's
The U.S.
absolutely
dollar has been on the decline for like 15, 20 years.
Absolutely not. You can see USD to euro comparison. Like Trump has been destroying the USD with his insane.
That's not true at all. I just don't know where you're
You
getting
can
your
look at the treasury yields increasing because other people, Japan and Canada, were possibly looking at offloading U.S. treasuries. You can look at the fact that you want to talk about a deficit or increasing U.S. dollars again. Trump's first term, all he did were tax cuts. He didn't pair it with any spending cuts. Massive deficits. Look at the one big beautiful bill. Massive deficits. All Trump does is print money like crazy. For no reason too. He did it for no reason. There's no crisis right now for these 4 years.
No,
Why
I
is he
disagree.
printing?
I think the economy is in a great shape and getting better, especially when I look at things like luxury goods.
So do you support deficit spending?
Do I support
Do you
what?
support massive deficit spending to increase the economy?
It depends, not generally.
It depends on what. If it's a Republican or a Democrat in office?
I mean, sure, I guess, but not really. No, it depends on it. Like, for example, I'll give you one that I'm not a huge fan of. I don't like Trump's gun laws as a Texan, right? So I'm not just to sit here die hard. I'm going to die on the hill. I think the big beautiful bill. I'm sure that's what you want to be referring to. I think that was too much. I'm not a huge fan of that. So no, I'm not going to sit here and die on that hill for some of these things. However, I do think whenever he's sitting here and he's sitting here accomplishing things in multiple industries that are improving things for us, I think maybe we should give him a chance. We've done things one way for the last, 16 of the last 20 years, have been done one way. And now, we're getting a change and it's benefiting some people that haven't been benefiting for a while. And all of a sudden, that's a problem. And that's kind of what I keep coming back to you. You're saying it's a zero-sum game on our side. When I'm saying it looks like it's a zero-sum game on your side because y'all hate seeing anybody else win.
When you say try something different over the past 20, 30 years, what I've seen is Republicans destroying the economy, Democrats coming in and having to try to rebuild, and then Republicans coming in and trying to...
Wait, well, how come did the general public, whenever time they're polled, say they trust the Republicans more with the economy than Democrats?
Because the general republic is...
So we're just better at marketing in that case?
Yeah,
Is
conservatives, all they do is market. It's like when they've invested...
So, what did Obama come in after?
What did Obama come in after? He came in after the 2007-2008 housing crisis. Was that the Democrats' fault? No, that was a deregulation thing. That was a repeal of Glass-Steagall. That was a repeal of all the mortgage regulations. That was a Republican-run drive-up, right? Where did all the massive spending come from under Bush? It was for foreign wars. What did Biden come in under? He came under the horrible COVID mismanagement, Trump having no leadership or guidance over the country.
I mean, Bush had his own economic win before the housing crisis. He was doing good. We could bash the wars, but, military-industrial complex spending was up, stock was through the roof, oil production was up. There was benefits there in some of those regards. But, the housing bubble, that wasn't good. I didn't like that. The banking crisis under Obama, that also wasn't good. I feel like these are massive crises.
The banking crisis under Obama?
Yeah.
You mean under Bush?
No, the banking crisis underneath it. Wasn't it Bush?
The bailouts, that was because of the mortgage
I didn't like
stuff
that either. Either one.
Sure.
Bush was
But
bad.
these were Republican-led disasters that a Democrat has to come in and clean up under and then still get the economy moving again. Biden had to do it again after Trump, and now we're going to have to do it again after this Trump.
You keep saying get the economy moving again when it's like clear that some people are getting left in the dust. There's a reason why, for example, and I keep coming back to beef, is so high right now, and it's because of the Democrat policy. policies like grain and corn subsidies, where it switched people going away from the stuff that would usually generally go to beef. All of a sudden now you don't have the feed supply, and the only people that can survive are people like myself who are grass-fed ranchers, and all of a sudden you just take out a huge swath of an industry that was already hurting. And I can look at other industries like this, and it's just like, oh, well, hey, at least soy is good right now. Like, like what? Like, come on, man. Like, that's not.
I think that animal agriculture exports are going to be down by the end of Trump's 4 years. I think that the access to other markets is poor. I think that the reciprocated tariffs now, the real ones, not the fake ones that Trump said were there before, are hurting exporters all across the United States. I think the weakening of our dollar is going to end up. I think there's going to be a lot of things that are going to hurt our ability to export to other markets.
Well, like you look at China, do you think that would you call what we've done with China a general tariff, or would you call that a reciprocal? Whenever they came in at one rate and then we came back in at one rate, and then all of a sudden they lowered it, we lowered it, we're still 15% higher, and they agreed to it. Would you not agree that that's a win in our book? I mean, just look at how much money the
everything
tariffs
about
have brought
Trump's
in.
trade has been a loss so far. Everybody
That's not
agrees.
true at all.
Everybody, his whole administration realized it. He realized
Partially
it.
due to the tariffs, we've actually, what was it, the last 2 months have reported a surplus specifically due to the tariffs? I mean, do you not agree that's a good thing? Aren't happy that the government's getting a surplus?
You're saying that it's a good thing that we've taxed Americans more on imports?
We're not taxing Americans. We're taxing the overseas people.
I thought we agreed early that a tariff is an import tax.
Yeah, and we're incentivizing production here at home. Instead of having
You know
to import
what?
foreign
When Donald
beef-
Trump said he could shoot somebody on 5th Street or whatever, and his audience will support him, I maybe would have believed that. If Donald Trump would have said, I could find a way to tax working and middle-class Americans more, and they'll believe me, and they'll champion it, I would have never believed that. I can't believe people are defending the concept of raising money via what is honestly like a Democrat dream of having like a type of, like an import tax, right? Like, oh my God, we're going to tariff everybody and make all
but it's
sorts of money
not
this
an
way.
import.
It's not even that big of a dollar amount that he's raising compared to all the other money he's lost via the insane tax cuts on the one big beautiful bill. So it's not even a wash with all of his other horrible
Wait,
fiscal
do you
policies.
disagree that by like taxing foreign products such as like foreign beef or foreign manufactured goods, whatever those may be, that it's not going to incentivize people to buy those goods locally, as opposed because you're saying, oh, it's a tax. Well, that's going to incentivize local people to build and produce and expand their operations, and that's going to allow them to have more production here. So, it
It
might be a
incentivizes
transitory
local
problem.
production, but at the cost of local consumers. It means that you're also
But
going to
in
have
the
less.
short term, in the long term,
No.
it's going to be better off because
Why would you assume that in the long term we can outcompete every single
Wait.
economy in the world on every
Wait,
single
does it
type
cost
of
money
good?
to ship stuff from one country to another? Yeah, absolutely. If we cut that out because it's produced right here in America, of course the costs
So
are going to
you
go down
think in the
long term.
U.S. we can outcompete every single country on the planet on every single good?
I mean, it depends. Probably, yeah. I trust in America's production capability.
I don't even know what
you
to
were
say.
just
That sounds
saying
like
we lead the way in
nobody
technology.
serious believes that. That's impossible, and it won't happen. It won't happen
So
at
what
all.
is it? What is it? Is it that we're the leaders in technology and all this service stuff, we can be one of the leaders in production, and we can actually lead the world in this, and we are the current leaders? Or are you saying no, that we're not actually the leaders that you're saying we're number one in?
No,
So
we are the leaders when it comes to like end stage assembly and technology and service and like software. Like this is the stuff that we lead the world in. These are the envies of the world when it comes to production.
Well, so look at like HEB, and we mentioned Walmart earlier. Why is HEB the fastest growing grocer in the United States? Well, the reason why is because they have taken every step out of the way. They own their like cod farms out in Alaska. They own their lobster farms in Maine. They own their beef production facilities here in the United States. They sit here and they work when they go overseas for coffee. They own the coffee production, right? It's all built within their system, and they are eliminating the middlemen, and that's led to lower costs, even despite the tariffs, because guess what? They're an American company producing the goods here. I can point to numerous examples of this. And that's what the Walmart model was. That, and I'm sitting here looking at this, and I say, oh, you're saying this can't happen. And I'm saying I see businesses internalizing and excluding the overseas people all the time and benefiting, and you're saying, no, that can't happen. Well, why is it already happening then?
It's not happening to a large extent. There is a reason why
The
the
fastest growing grocer in the United States isn't at a quick percent isn't a good example. What do you mean? They're like,
Do you think that the whole world is looking at Taiwan because Taiwan makes like the best car doors?
no, it's because they make the chips. But why? If we sit here,
Which is an end stage advanced.
How big
It's not
is
because they're
Taiwan?
mining silicon. It's not because they're out in the coal mines. It's not because
how
they're
big is Taiwan?
pretty small.
Small, right? Like, okay, so I said I'm from Texas, right? Imagine if we just took all the counties that were the same size as Taiwan and we started building facilities there, which they're already doing. Like, I don't see how we can't produce these in-game things like you're saying as well as
Because we don't want to build that. We want to do steel.
What, steel? I mean, sure, American steel is better than Chinese steel. Like, do you
If it's
disagree
so
with
much
that?
better, then why do Americans buy Chinese steel?
Well, if we put the tariffs on them, we could build it at a cheaper rate and faster here.
It won't happen. I don't know what to say.
You're just saying it won't happen, and I'm giving you examples of when it is happening, like HEB.
We don't have the people. We don't have the
We
physical.
don't have the people. What do you mean? Aren't you the ones? Y'all the ones sitting here saying, "Oh, hey, we need all these illegal aliens for all these jobs because the Americans won't do them." I'm seeing poultry farms, like butchering facilities. They're hiring Americans now after they've cleared out all these illegals. So it looks like we do have the people, and it's just kind of like inconvenient truth to you.
I don't know how to. There's like, if I were to ask you for an example, you wouldn't be able to give me a single one. If I were to ask you for, like, there's just no world where we can outcompete the entire world on everything.
Yeah, I could give you
no
an example.
economy does it.
I can give you an
can't-
example right now. C&J Farms in Texas once
That's
again.
not a country.
Oh, a country. Oh, now we got to change it from like companies to
I'm
countries.
asking about a country that tries to do everything. Some economies, like in some ways, Germany has issues getting trapped in like a manufacturing
Yeah, they're
economy
also
where
the
they can't
size
make.
of like Oklahoma. So that's a bad
I'm
example.
just saying that you can't make everything. There's a concept called comparative advantages. Some people do some things better than other people. Some economies are geared more towards the production of certain goods or services than other economies. If our unemployment is sub 5% and Donald Trump is obsessed with kicking a whole bunch of people out of the country, where are we expecting to invent all these people to take
hold
place
on.
of all these other things that we're importing from other countries? We just don't have the people for it.
Hold on. If we have a massive unemployment rate, then why
We
should
don't have a massive unemployment rate.
Yeah, it seems like we have a lot of people unemployed or working on the gig economy who have to work 2 part-time jobs.
I don't know what it seems like is. I can't talk about it seems like. I can only go by the
think we
official
can.
reported
You were just
numbers.
sitting here, listen, it's pretty simple. When we go and look, we do have. You were just saying unemployment is climbing. If we're getting rid of illegal aliens, like Trump is trying to do, or stopping the flow of immigration, why wouldn't these people suddenly that are here not be getting hired? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer that you're going to hire here if you can't hire from overseas.
When I say unemployment is climbing, I mean it's getting like back up to, and then it's going to go north of 5%. Not we're at 30%, so we can open every single new shop in the United States that we were importing from every other country.
I mean, hold on. Are you saying all these people that are sitting here working on welfare, living on welfare, they're sitting here?
I don't think there are that many people that are sitting here on welfare not working.
What? There's all sorts of people working on welfare that don't have full-time jobs. Unemployment, there's they get unemployment and whatnot. They don't go work. You literally have to go in there and just show that you apply for jobs just to get it. I remember when I was at college, I knew tons of friends sitting here living basically off unemployment, and they would just extend it for 6 months, and then they would go and get a job for like 1 or 2 months, and then they would do it again. Like, you can't tell me this isn't happening when I've seen it regularly my whole life. Like, I know tons of people. Like, I grew up poor. Like, I saw this. This is what happens. And then when you're sitting here going, oh, it's not happening, it's not believable.
I can't speak to what you see. I live in Miami Beach. I see a bunch of people in swimsuits all the time, and I'm not going to go to Alaska and expect to see the same thing. It doesn't make it I'm just saying that in 1 year, what are you looking for to see if everything is going as you would hope it's going in 1 year?
I'm looking at traceable data, and this is why I brought up I came in here specifically talking about the beef industry. It's something I'm familiar with the data, right? When you're sitting here going,
No. So I'm just asking you. Don't worry about what I'm saying. I'm just asking you in 1 year. So, like, if the export total of beef has decreased, would you consider that a Trump failure, or are we just not adjusted yet?
Say that again.
If our total animal agriculture exports have decreased, would you consider that like a failure or?
Well, they are going to decrease over the next 2 years due to gestation rates, but then they're definitely going to be primed to increase due to how the cattle production.
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean by that?
So cows, it takes about 2 years to get them from pre-production to the feeding lots and feed facilities before they can even be processed. So right now, based off with cattle, it's a really easy one to track. I could sit here and track based off where cows are in their production cycle nationwide. I could tell you within their reproduction cycle at what exact
Wait,
year.
you're telling me that in cow manufacturing, they don't stagger the gestation? All of them gestated the same cycle?
No, that's not what I'm saying. They do stagger it, so I can tell you exactly how long it's going to take based off economic indicators. And that's why I'm saying within 3 years, we're going to see our first growths in herds since the 1950s. So when I'm sitting here saying, oh, hey, I've seen exact production, exact changes that are benefiting Americans, like with ranching, I can sit here and point to an exact data point. And this is why when you're sitting here saying, oh, the stats for this, and I'm arguing over the stats, and we're sitting there arguing over definitions, or we're arguing over hey, how much unemployment is, I go, hey, well, there's good liars, bad liars, and statistics. That's kind of what you're doing right here. And I think it's kind of like not really being honest whenever I can look at something like ranching and I can point to an exact data set that's going to change based off established principles and established economic conditions. And with cattle, for example, I know exactly it's going to take 3 years based off of the changes that have happened in the 6 months. And it's very simple. And so there's not going to be a change unless something crazy happens that'll,
Okay. I guess we'll see where we're at in a year. But I mean, right now, for CPI and stuff, a cost of a basket of goods, everything has gone up except eggs that came down because of the whatever egg price having. But everything else has gone up in terms of average costs. Housing prices are still going up. Cost of education is still going up. Now we're paying import taxes on everything we get from other countries. Maybe in a year, the cow gestation will save us because of all the beef agriculture, maybe. But it just looks like every indicator right now is bad. We're always 2 weeks away from any actual trade deal from other countries, even though we keep saying things. And now we're having to spend a bunch of money on soybean farmers because Venezuela and China are screwing us because we don't know how to manage any of our trade policy.
Let me just ask you this, because you keep saying we're 2 weeks away from trade. If, say, no trade deal signed, but they suddenly match our standards, is that not a net benefit?
It should be like enunciated in a trade deal. I don't know if I would consider that a benefit because it could change at any time.
Okay, so wait, hold on. Like, every country has the right to govern themselves, right?
Kind of. It depends on what you mean by that.
So, like, I mean, whoever's in charge of the country, whether it's a dictator, whether it's a democracy, whether it's a republic, whether it's whatever, somebody have a governing body that makes the rules, right?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, okay. And so then, if they have a governing body that makes the rules, they can change those rules at any given time, correct?
No, that's not how that works.
Oh, yeah, it seems like it. I mean, because
Wait,
just here in the United States...
are you a free person who can do what they want with their time, assuming you're not breaking the law?
Sure, but I mean...
You can say that, but what if we sign a contract? That's why you have contracts, is so that you can hold people to deals so that they're enforcing them in the future. I wouldn't want to be on a friend deal with a country for something as important as trade, because you yourself said it, like a lot of these industries have to ramp up and ramp down.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're in business, then you know there's such a thing as a good faith gesture, right? If I'm going into business with somebody for, like, I don't know, credit card processing, right? And I go in there and I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you the, I don't know, POS machine for free, and, you know, and you're going to sit here and you're going to get this rate, and I give you the POS system, and I give you a trial period before you have to sign it, you would agree that's indicating that you're going to be going along with the deals that we're going to be making, correct?
You would never sign a contract on or you would never operate on good faith like that. I think you would always want something in writing.
But this is
but
international
also, America has
diplomacy,
no
though.
more good
Like,
faith.
this is different.
Well, no, if you want to talk about diplomacy, America's lost all good faith with the tariff war. We destroyed that.
No. These countries have been taking advantage for a while.
They haven't been taking advantage of us.
Yes, they are. Like, you're sitting here, we're acting like, okay, like, I mean, they absolutely have. Whenever they have standards that exclude us from a market, how do you think that's not taking advantage of us?
I thought you just said countries have the right to regulate their own country and
Well, that's my
decide what
point.
they want to import or export.
You're sitting here saying that, oh, hey, they have to be a contract. You know, at least when I see somebody put in an office in another country and they're sitting here trying to make strides and change regulations at the local level.
If you think that there are unfair things like that, why didn't Trump just go out and negotiate that?
I mean, that's what he's doing.
No, that's not what he's doing. He tariffed
how
everybody.
long do you think a deal takes to make? They take months at
Apparently
a time.
a lot longer than Trump thought, because he said we'd have 100 deals in 100 days, and so far we have 0.
I mean, it seems like a lot of these people have been coming and dealing with him. To me, I don't know.
Doesn't seem like that to me. Again, we're past 100 days and we have 0 deals. Where are all of the trade deals? They're nowhere.
They're all over the place.
They're
we got
nowhere.
Panama, we got the UK, we got the EU
They're
deal
not
going
materialized yet. We have to mute, like,
through.
there
We
are
got the tariffs. China are higher than they've ever been, while theirs are like equal to what they were before. Like,
They're not equal to what they were before.
I mean, we have
Okay.
a surplus from the tariffs as well.
We don't have a surplus. We're still in a massive economic
no, we
deficit.
don't have
or
a surplus.
fiscal deficit.
Just checking in, guys.
Yeah,
We have about 5 minutes left there, Mr. Beef. Gibbs.
Hey, there you go. Beef, it's
Sorry,
also
I had
there.
to. Is there anything you wanted to touch on with Destiny for maybe 5 more minutes?
No, I mean, I did want to say I thought this was kind of interesting. Y'all were just talking about the political violence thing, and I was making sure I brought my helmet and checked out upstairs before I came out here. But I think that I'm glad you said that. Honestly, I think that it has motivated people on the conservative side to go out and talk, and I encourage you to do more of these debates. I will give you much credit for going and talking to people, because I know that it's a lot of people will just comment and they don't want to put their money where their mouth is. I mean, do you think that the heightened environment overall is going to be something that continues, or do you think that these recent violent activities are going to be a shock thing that are going to make people go away?
I think it'll continue until President Trump tells everybody to calm down.
Do you think that people will even listen to him? I mean, I don't.
He got everybody to ignore the Epstein files. I think he'll get everybody to tone the violence down if he wanted to, yeah. But I think he likes it. I think conservatives kind of enjoy the environment.
They enjoy them. I mean, I don't think so. Every time I've ever heard someone do something on the conservative side, say a conservative guy kills somebody, everybody on the conservative side, yeah, that was terrible. Put him in the meat chipper, the wood chipper, right? I've never heard anybody sitting there glorifying, except for maybe I don't know, the Klan or somebody, which is not representative.
Well, I mean, if it's one of theirs, they memory hole it and they never talk about it. If it's a left-wing person, then of course they go crazy about it.
What do you mean? They talk about the Timothy McVeigh all the time and say how terrible he was.
This is decades ago, right?
Sure.
What was the one? Was it Abbott who pardoned the guy who killed the? oh God, was it
Well,
a
I mean,
BLM
it's-
protester? I think like you had Trump pardoning all the J6ers. He thought that violence was epic. You had
I mean, the January 6th one seems kind of controversial now with all the FBI stuff coming out. But I mean, like,
well, nothing came out to be clear.
I mean, sure, that's fair. We can argue about that later. But I'm saying, like, specifically, whenever I'm looking and I talk about this ticky-tack word game BS, I just saw the other day that, the Pulse Club nightclub shooter is considered a right-wing violence. And I'm just like, this guy represents the right wing, like, I don't know about that one. I feel like there's been a dishonest framing, and I don't think that Trump coming out and saying everybody needs to calm down is actually going to do anything. I think that's dishonest as well, like they actually believe that.
Well, then no one on the left saying anything shouldn't do anything either, right? If literally none of our speech matters at all, I don't understand how crazy it is that I don't understand how you can say that. You don't believe that. There's no way you believe what you just said. You don't think Donald Trump making a statement that everybody should calm down. You think that would have no impact on the environment whatsoever.
I mean, maybe some. I don't think that. I think that it's going to be like kind of turned against him. It's just like whenever he was like with the Proud Boys or whatever. He's like, calm down, stand by, whatever. Some people interpret it as, oh, he's going to have his own private army. To most conservatives, it's like, he's like saying, chill out. I feel like anything he does is just going to be framed as.
Yeah, but when he said that, everybody
capitulation.
understood it as like, fuck
I mean,
shit
do you
up,
just
right?
agree that anything he says is going to be turned into like I don't know, some kind of meme? Like the
No, I think
January-
it's very obvious. Like when you listen to Biden speak, it was obvious he wanted everybody to calm down. When Donald Trump said stand back and stand
Well,
by,
hold on. Biden said he wouldn't be upset if he got taken out one time. I mean, what do you mean? Like,
no, he did not
Yes.
say that. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. Not only did he not say that, but you can look at all of his actions and providing additional Secret Service members and increasing security for even his political opponents or reaching
hold
out.
on. If they increase the security and put the C team on him and they get two people taking pot shots at him, I don't know if that's really increasing the security just because you throw more bodies, but you put like the B team out there.
I mean, he's doing what it's not like Biden himself is out there securing the
Well, no,
events.
nobody wants
But I'm
that.
saying as opposed to Biden is providing for additional security and Trump is trying to rescind Secret Service protections, additional ones from every single person he can. He's done that. And I mean, the way that Donald Trump talks about, he went on stage after Erica and was like, well, unlike Charlie Kirk, I hate all my political opponents. It's kind of unhinged to say.
Is it though? I mean, like I feel like there's a lot of hate. Like just coming on here, I got
Yeah,
hate
it
just
comes
for
from
coming today.
him.
You get hate from all the people all the time. We all get hate. Like just
Yeah, but there's a
because
difference
of
from the
conversations.
president saying it.
I mean, is there though? I mean, he's
How
one.
could
Like
you
that's
not have a
part of
different
what that's
standard for
part
the
of what people
president?
like about him is that he.
Yeah, is that he's hateful.
No, it's that he's a regular person that you could talk to.
I don't
You
want a
say-
regular person. I
feel
want
like-
somebody who's better than a regular person. The president of the United States.
You say that, but I feel like the part of being the president is that anybody could be president. That's really the myth. The myth of the United States is like, hey, little Timmy could grow up and become the president.
Anybody can be president isn't the same thing as saying everybody can be president. If you're in a dire situation, you're not looking around and it's like, I got the 6'2" jack guy, I've got the guy with all the military general experience, and I got the
So
everyman.
you're-
I want the
you're
ordinary
arguing-
dude to lead us through the
Wait,
zombie
so-
apocalypse? What do you mean?
Wait, so you're arguing for an elite oligarchy that runs the United States? That's crazy.
Well,
I
hold
don't-
on, no. If I was arguing for an
That's
elite
exact-
oligarchy to run the United States, I would support Trump and Elon.
No, that's
so
what
no,
you're
that's
doing
not what
right
I'm
now.
arguing for. I'm
You-
saying that the president
You
of the
said
United
you don't want
States
it to
should
be
have.
everybody, anybody. If it can't be anybody, then you want someone specific that you think is special or like higher than the rest.
Do you think
That's
a
an
mentally
elite
retarded person should be president?
Wait, say that again.
Do you think a mentally retarded person should be president?
Probably not. Yeah, okay. Maybe I'm okay with
Should
excluding
child
them.
rapist be president?
A what?
Child rapist be president?
No, I mean obviously not.
Foreign national, a Martian. So
Well, no,
not
for-
everybody should be
Sure,
president,
sure.
right?
I mean,
We
I'm
want the
talking
best
about-
of the best,
okay,
right?
That's bad faith. I mean, you know that I'm talking about an average American citizen. I'm not sitting here talking about Tiny Tim from that the orphanage that's been dropped on his head 30 times. I don't think anybody here thinks I'm saying that. Nobody's talking about Pedo Joe hanging out in the bathroom somewhere. Like nobody's talking about that. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the average person that could grow up and come from any social class and become the American president. Yeah, I think
The
people
average
do.
person that comes from any social class to be president.
Yeah, I
and your
think that's
example is
something people-
Donald Trump, the
No, I mean, no,
multimillionaire
it's not
real
that
estate
one, is
mogul
that
from New York
he's-
City.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's actually a point that I think you're making right here. It's a good one, is that he's not in the political elite. He comes from the rich elite. And, it's just this big step that we've got with somebody coming from just the economic class instead of this elite political class. I think it's a baby step in the right direction.
The guy that was at all the Clintons' weddings and was making daily trips to Epstein's Island was not part of the elite
we're gonna
political
sit-
class.
I mean, that's ridiculous. Now we're sitting here equating the Epstein thing. I mean, listen, if the Epstein thing matters so much, the Dems would have nailed him with it when they had all the files. But they didn't do it because they knew he didn't have anything. And just like with Jillian Maxwell said he didn't have it, none of the fucking victims have said that he's got these
If we're going to
problems.
run with that logic, then if the Republicans had anything on Comey or Barack Obama related to the FBI hunt,
Well,
then they would have
tr-
released it in
tried, but
2016 to
they
2020.
tried, but the little dim operatives that were already working, they've sit here and stopped them at every turn. We've seen that even just now. He's not cleared out all these people that are
There's
working
still a
against him.
deep state. There's still how deep does the state go?
I don't know about how there's a deep state. Those are your words, not mine. But I'm thinking that
Those are not my words. Those are Trump's words. Those are the words of the
sure,
Republican administration for the past 10
We
years.
could call it a deep state, but you and I both know that there's always people at each side in trenches whenever they get in charge, and those people that are for holdovers from other administrations are working against them. If that's a deep state, so be it. But you can't deny that there are people that are in power right now that are working against his agenda when he pushed stuff forward. Yeah, I would argue that it's taken him a while to get rid of some of those people, get people in place so that we can do some research on this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that he can indefinitely blame whatever the deepest of the deep state, the deepest of the Loch Ness swamp monster, whatever he wants to call it. But I mean, at the end of the day, going back to where we started here, just the idea that you would want the president to just be like an ordinary person that would succumb to his emotions, it betrays all of like U.S. history. Like nobody was like, oh, George Washington, he was like a normal soldier that just marched across the field and shot a dude and then went home. It was like he crossed the Delaware. He was an amazing man. He did crazy stuff. Like I feel like we generally want to advocate for our presidents to be like really exceptional men, not just ordinary people thrust into the limelight. We'll see how they respond, and it'll be like an epic episode of The Apprentice.
A lot of these people in history were regular people that got thrust in the limelight. You know, you can look at like, I mean, Andrew Jackson, he was just a regular soldier that moved his way up the ranks. You know,
yeah, they
you brought
rose
up
to the
George
occasion.
Washington. You know, we could look at Ulysses S. Grant. We could look at tons of people. Abe Lincoln was just a random, like a hick from the backwoods that got really good at public speaking and he came up the ranks. Like there's plenty of examples in history of these. Davy Crockett, you know,
But
he
these
was a
people
hunter.
made something of themselves and then were elected president. I'm just all of this to go back even a step further. I would expect good conduct from the president of the United States.
I mean, hold on. Are you
I
saying?
can't believe this is controversial.
It's
because his behavior is indefensible.
We've had plenty of presidents that have said that, like, oh, we hate our enemies throughout. Like,
No, we don't.
I mean, FDR was sitting here talking about the evils of Nazism and then communism.
Nazism?
Yeah.
What does it say about you if that's an offensive statement?
No, I'm not saying it's offensive. I'm not. Hold on. First of all, I'm saying that you say there's groups that they hate.
Yeah,
There's
the
all
Nazis
sorts
were an
groups.
enemy of the
Yeah, they're
United States
bad,
of
and the
America.
communists. We have
That was like a
president-
country
Hold on,
that
what
was-
we have presidents saying they hate the Russians back in the day. We have presidents saying
Those are
they
enemies.
hate
Yeah,
all these are like. I mean, if these are their enemies, why wouldn't they say they hate them? I feel like
But there's a
they're
difference
arguing.
between the enemies being foreign nationals versus like your domestic
Wait, hold on.
citizens.
Wait, hold on. We have domestic people that believe in all these things. You don't believe we should hate these people that have these evil beliefs? So you're pro.
It's
being,
all the same
being-
to
Wait,
you
are
then.
you pro being friend with the Klan and be like, oh, we should never have the president say he hates the Klan or he hates the Nazis?
All
after
right,
this election, I'm just saying that from the same people who said that Obama saying Trayvon Martin looks like me, to have that brain break, like half the conservative movement for indefinite periods of time, to come out and say, actually, I don't care at all what the president says. It's all epic and based. That's just astounding to me.
All right.
Oh,
That's,
here, give him the last word. Give him the last word. Give him the last word. He can have the last word.
I was just going to say that's 5 minutes, guys. No, we'll give you the last. We'll give you the last
Okay, go
word
ahead.
there, Mr. Gibbs.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, thanks for debating with me. Yeah, it was fun. And
Where can people come and debate you?
you can find me anywhere as Admiral Gibbs on YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, all the good stuff. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Everyone
Thanks for
show
having
up at Debate Mr. Gibbs. Give him a round of applause. Thanks. Thank you so much. Okay, super quick because we got more debaters to get through here. Extra, read all about it. We are about to announce a massive debate in the UK for Destiny, Stephen Bonnell. We're very close to announcing it. This deal has been in the works for about 3 or 4 months now. So I just wanted to put it out there that everyone be on the lookout for a very big announcement coming in the DDG Destiny world. And this is DGG. Wow, I suck. DGG, sorry. But yeah, we're going to be announcing something. And Stephen's going to be coming overseas early in the new year. So look out for that announcement. Yeah, and that's it. We had someone just sign up from the audience to debate, so we're going to squeeze them in here. We're going to go this next debater, and then we'll go to you, Nathaniel, after that. So let's bring up Alex. Alex to the stage. Everyone put your hands together for Alex.
Oh no, shake his hand. You walk by him. All right.
Yeah, hi, Destiny.
Hey, what's up?
So I was wondering, I was wondering how you think the set of like base manufacturing workers in the United States overlaps with the set of consumers that are buying the commodities that these base manufacturing workers produce. So how do these two sets overlap, the workers and consumers?
My guess is they overlap probably very broadly, but it probably depends on like the specific, like if you break out like different types of consumption, then
Well,
it might
like,
change.
Let's say like textiles, clothing, electronics. I would actually disagree. I would say that they overlap very little because America kind of operates off of finance capital where the U.S. dollar is the reserve currency. American markets are stable, so the world kind of invests in U.S. markets, and we just sort of do magic with that money. Also R&D, like you say, like top-level manufacturing R&D and that sort of thing. So I would say that most of the workers that do the base manufacturing actually are outsourced and offshore, like say in China or something, right?
Oh, okay. So sorry. So I thought you meant for domestic labor.
No,
But
no,
for international, I would probably agree. Like the I'm super guessing here, but I would probably agree that like the majority of like the people that do base level manufacturing in China are probably not consuming the
Right.
majority of their output. I would probably agree with that. Yeah.
Would you agree that the majority of the consumers in the United States are consuming commodities produced by Chinese workers?
I don't know.
Everything's made in China.
I'm sure it's a big chunk. I don't know if it's a majority, but I'm sure it's a big chunk. Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is a pretty easy thing to agree on. So labor is a commodity, right? So when how do you say this? When labor is automated or outsourced, the price of labor decreases, wages stagnate, and wages for base manufacturing jobs have stagnated. The jobs are disappearing, right? So this industry is kind
Internationally or?
No, in the United States specifically because we outsource it.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And your argument, well, I've heard your argument to this, which is that higher level knowledge work will eventually come and replace all this base level manufacturing, and that's how the economy grows, right?
Kind of, although in a more qualified conversation, we would have to be more careful, right? Because there's going to be a level of specificity to the training to where it's not strictly replacing it. What really happens is there's going to be some class of worker that's going to be left behind, and then some new class of worker is going to emerge and then take on higher productivity labor, right? Like so in the wake of NAFTA and everything, that's kind of what we saw was a shift away from more like blue collar, base level manufacturing to like higher educated stuff.
Right.
And on paper, the numbers are like replacing them cleanly, but in actuality, there's a group of workers that are kind of being abandoned by a newer economy, right?
Right.
Sure, yeah.
But would you argue that the group of workers being abandoned is actually quite small because they eventually adapt and they learn the new trade, etc. Like the majority of the United States economy is not based around base level manufacturing anymore. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, probably, but like if we're having a serious conversation about it, that might not matter that much because like so like gains that you make on consumer purchases, like overall increased access to like cheaper stuff from Walmart might be a thing that marginally improves everybody's life on a small amount, but there might be like a focused group of people that are severely damaged, right? So even if everybody across the country is making small gains, if they look to like Detroit and they're like, oh geez, this place has been like obliterated by the decreased consumption, it like on a psychological level that might outweigh an overall like an aggregate gain that shows up on paper, if that makes sense.
Right. Okay. Sorry, can I look at my notes for a second?
Yeah, sure. I just want to comment on like when I don't know what you were expecting or how much you watched my content when you come on to have this conversation, but when I'm arguing with conservatives or MAGA people, my statements are like pretty, I don't want to say hyperbolic, but they're maybe a little bit one-dimensional when I'm fighting against some of these points. One of the reasons why I hate a lot of the conservative takes on economics so much, though, is because I think that there are really valuable discussions that can happen when it comes to the structure of the economy, but we never, ever, ever have those conversations because we're so busy arguing the most hyperbolic things in the world. So what you're talking about right now about like certain workers being displaced by certain types of jobs being exported, certain supply chains being exported, and certain consumers gaining while there's like focused damage on the economy, I think that's a really valuable conversation to have that we don't have. But like when the other side, like what was argued earlier, is saying, well, actually, we can just manufacture every single thing in the United States and it'll be perfect. It's like, okay, well, this is not
No,
like
absolutely not.
yeah. I agree that there, yeah.
So I think, no, we should not go back to base level manufacturing. That it's like going to the past. The past doesn't exist anymore. That it's harkening back to, I mean, labor was strong then, but it's harkening back to a past that shouldn't exist when it's automated, right? Why would you mine the coal when the robot mines the coal.
Sure.
Okay, so my question for you is, so shareholders constantly need the derivative of profit to be positive, right? It needs delta profit needs to be positive. So there's constant growth in growth, right? So what happens when the consumers, as top-level knowledge jobs are being automated by large language models, et cetera? You see massive layoffs at all tech companies for software. I work in software, and it's become like 10 times harder to find a job ever since the large language model stuff happened. Okay, so when those jobs become automated, how do you keep the shareholders happy by keeping the delta profit positive?
I mean, I think right now the answer is just we don't know.
Well, we do know, actually. It's
what we don't know is that all of the jobs are going to be automated. So there's something called the lump of labor fallacy, which I'm sure you're familiar with, where people are like, oh my God, we've made like sewing looms. Like, how are we going to have everybody's going to run out of work, or we've created some new electronic thing, new computer thing, new automated thing, and now we think there's going to be no jobs, but like there's always more stuff for people to do.
Right.
I guess the question is, obviously, when people are talking about AI and LLMs and general intelligence and everything, like, are we going to reach a level where we've actually hit some kind of
upper limit?
Yeah, I don't want to call it a singularity, but something where like we're actually automating away more than what we can find new work for people to do.
I absolutely think that knowledge work and automating knowledge labor is the upper limit. That is. There's nothing beyond that. Like, what is the pinnacle of like human expression? It's like doing art, right? And we have art automated. There's like
sure.
Yeah,
I don't know. There's a saying. I'm very American, and there's a saying. It's like an American can sooner imagine the end of the world than the end of capitalism. So
absolutely,
I have no idea. I mean, like in a perfect world, we move on to like the free time utopia, where now we only work for 10 hours a week and everybody's happy because the robots are doing everything.
Right.
In the hellscape, I guess there's only a few like warlords that own the robots,
Precisely.
And then we're all screwed. Who knows?
So this is
but I
why
don't know,
we need
yeah.
collective ownership of the automated means of production. We need collective ownership before all labor is useless and our strikes mean nothing. We need to seize the automated means of production. Okay, but anyways, so profits need to constantly go up, right? So what did they do? What did they do in 2008? What did they do when every market crashes? They pumped the credit market by giving out loans that they should not be giving out, risky loans, subprime mortgages. They pumped the credit market, and eventually, for a short time, the profits increased, right? Like you said earlier with the other guy, for a short time, the economy is kind of stimulated, but eventually those loans are going to default, right? You cannot pump the credit market forever. There's no infinite fake money unless you're relying, I know you hate this, but unless you're relying on, the petrodollar having a monopoly on resources and then coercing other countries to do manufacturing. Like, you cannot maintain this growth forever. Eventually, markets will default. Banks will default, loans will default, and the market will crash, as it did in 2008.
This is a very, this is kind of like a Marxist idea. I think the idea that the rate of profits to fall to zero, basically. It hasn't been observed yet, but is it possible that this could happen? Maybe.
It happened in 2008.
Well, there's this underlying assumption that I can't speak to any depth of knowledge to this because I just don't know enough. But one thing that's kind of underlying the assumption that you're making, and maybe there's more truth than I'm willing to give credit for, is this idea that a lot of the growth that we've seen in the world economy has just been artificially done by basically
IMF
printing money and this kind of inflationary thing. Versus the counter argument would be, well, no, there actually is a lot more. There's more participants in the global economy now. Among Africa, among China, India, there are actually more people, and there's more value that's actually being added to the economy, and that represents an increase, in price. I'll utter the meaningless statement.
Why are there market crashes if all of this productivity is real? It's not backed by debt. If it's real, why does a market crash every 30 years?
Well, there can be market crashes even when there's real value being created. Right? Like, that can happen.
Well, I feel like the easiest way to analyze,
I feel like when I'm looking at, it's funny because sometimes people look at market crashes and they'll say, this is an example that nothing in our economy is real, or this is all fake because of this boom-bust cycle. And it's maybe that's true, but if we take a deep breath and take a macro step back and then, look at the world,
right.
Do we actually feel that way? Do we have... is a 5090 graphics card really the same as a 1080, or are the treatments for cancer patients today the same as they were 30 years ago? Or
there's definitely a.
Do you feel like the progress of technology is tapering off right now?
I absolutely believe the progress.
No way.
I think the progress of technology has tapered off as soon as we reached large language models, and maybe we hit a limit with transformer models, right? Maybe they just can't model large enough context, whatever, right? But once you hit knowledge work, what is beyond that? Like,
I mean, I guess we'll see, but there's still a lot of unsolved problems. But I was just not necessarily referring to the LLM thing, but like I'm just saying that it seems like we've been growing in real ways. Like technologies are improving, like manufacturing is improving, like healthcare services are improving. Like there's been like real gains made in technologies across
No,
tons of
absolutely. I
sectors.
would
yeah.
concede that,
So
absolutely.
like if we were at some point in the future where we had started to have like these crazy boom bust, and I'm like, it kind of feels like everything's the same as it was 20 years ago. You know, what's going on? Then maybe I'd be like, oh, is this all like fake? But I feel like we're not there yet. But this is like a really deep, like fundamental macro econ finance question that I'm just probably not equipped to dive into as much. But yeah.
Final thoughts there, Alex?
Yeah, go
oh,
for it.
sorry. Let me take a look at my
If you have any
notes for a
final
sec.
thoughts?
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, I just wanted to say, right, like I feel like Trump is definitely doing a Weimar Republic type answer to the to the collapse of the economy. It's fascism. I mean, outright, it's the merger of corporate and state power. You know, with Musk and government, all these big tech companies merging. It's state power as an arm of corporate power in order to and maintain monopolies, brutalize workers, brutalize unions, and massive militarization to conquer external markets. To redivide, all the imperial reserves like Ukraine, etc. He nationalized Intel. Like, it's disgusting stuff. I agree with you on that. But I think that he's sort of the accelerationist answer, whereas liberals are trying to right a sinking ship that's sinking, and it's going to sink. It's collapse.
Yeah, I just don't know how good we are at predicting macro trends. Like, I think even way back in Marx's time, he thought that the entire world would slowly be shifting to a socialist model. Lenin thought that all of
And
Europe...
it did.
Well,
The
no.
USSR mode of production was absolutely socialist.
I
And the
mean, maybe,
Chinese
but
mode
it
of
also,
production
like, it
is.
failed hardcore compared to... I mean, like the capitalist mode of production, right?
No, absolutely not. They competed. They competed fiercely for 70 years, and then Gorbachev came in and liberalized and opened the economy to Western pillagers, and then they installed Yeltsin, a fucking drunk, and then they installed Yeltsin, a fucking drunk, who sold the country out, privatized everything, sold it to 3 oligarchs.
Yeltsin was right after the collapse, right?
Yeltsin was the cause of the collapse.
The
Gorbachev installed Yeltsin, and then Yeltsin, raised the Russian Federation flag, privatized all industry.
Yeah, but are you saying that, like, I'm sorry, just check, 'cause Gorbachev was like right prior to the collapse, right?
Gorbachev was a harbinger.
Are we saying that, like, wasn't the reason why Gorbachev was installing kind of like more open market stuff was because of the current faltering of the Soviet Union's economy?
The Brezhnev era in the 1970s did hit a sort of plateau, right? But the Brezhnev era in the in the late 1960s and early 70s was on a massive path of growth.
How it seems like when I look at one of the best arguments I feel in favor of like the capitalist mode of production is despite like looking at Trump trying to do the damage it can now, it seems pretty robust. I feel like universally, globally, the capitalist mode of production is pretty robust. I feel like the socialist mode of production is not as robust.
I think that once China gains enough surplus capital to be free of the United States for oil, via deals with Russia, and food via deals with Africa and the Belt and Road program, I think that manufacturing in China is going to become far more expensive, and I think that's an issue. And that's
Okay, we'll see. Okay, cool. I
All
appreciate it.
right, Alex, thank you so much. All right, and we are going to go straight in to our next debater. Nathaniel Bruffett, you're up. Nathaniel Bruffett is back with us. He joined us in Houston, and he's back for more. We have a limited amount of time, so go straight for the jugular there.
Jesus.
All right.
Word choice, please.
All right.
what's up?
What's up, Destiny? So there is multiple anti-Trump claims that you made in your Owen Schroyer debate that I want to debate you on. Now,
Okay.
for all of these claims, I want a charitable interpretation. So interrupt me if you think I'm not being charitable. All right. So the first.
Wait, did you DM me recently about this?
Wait, what?
Did you DM me recently about this?
I did not. No.
Okay,
I didn't
never
DM
mind,
you.
all right.
Okay.
Go
So
ahead.
the first claim, I'm pretty sure you were being hyperbolic, but just to be clear, this might make you mad. So hopefully it.
Don't worry, I'm used to it.
Just to be clear, if you mean this claim literally,
go for it. Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
It's 100% false. But I'm assuming it's hyperbole. So exact word for word, you said Trump takes absolutely no accountability for any of his actions in Owen Schroyer. So I'll just assume that's hyperbole and maybe move on to the next one.
I mean, I would say like 99%, but it's going to depend on how you define accountability, I guess.
Okay, that's fine. If you say 99% though, notice how if we take your claim literally, it's not going to translate to 99%. That would be you used a universal quantifier. You said
Sure,
for
but
any of his
humans, when they
actions.
speak, every time they say always or never, they don't really usually mean 100% or 0%, right?
Yeah, that's fine. That's why I want to be charitable. So
Okay.
it doesn't seem like we disagree there.
Okay.
All right. So the next claim would be yeah, it's crazy that I don't know. Well, I want to be charitable, but okay. So you said exact words. When you said he, you were talking about Trump, but I'm not going to replace that. So you said he wasn't able to pass any legislation. He wasn't able to do anything about the ACA. So like I think maybe like a really charitable interpretation would be that he wasn't able to pass any legislation that did anything about the ACA.
So for legislative landmarks, I know a big thing they wanted to do was the Infrastructure Act. They weren't able to do it. His legislative accomplishments were pretty minor. He had the tax cuts would have been the big one. I think they had like the First Step Act for prison stuff, which was minor, and I think they ended up defunding a lot of that anyway. And then for the ACA, the big goal when Republicans came was to repeal and replace it. But I think all they were able to do was get the like the tax penalty zeroed out or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
but notice how the claim wasn't Trump wasn't able to fully repeal and replace the ACA. The claim was Trump wasn't able to do anything about the ACA. So do you want to double down on that, or do you want to say that what you meant was something like about like when you say do anything, what you meant there was do anything
I'll
about
say what I just said is what I was implying, yeah.
Okay, so all right, so you don't think that. Well, just to be clear, do you think he was able to do anything as far as?
I think his presidency was a legislative failure, was an utter legislative failure, and I think they didn't accomplish their goals with the ACA.
They didn't accomplish. Okay, so the claim that they didn't accomplish their goals, like that's fine.
Sure.
But I just want to make sure that we don't disagree on the claim that Trump wasn't able to do anything about the ACA, because he did do something about the ACA.
He did indeed do something about it, yes.
He did do. Okay, all right. Okay. So if he did do something about it, and like I just feel like a lot of people when they listen to the debate, I think it might be a little unfair what you did to Trump. So it's a new claim I'm making. The thing is that I think most people, or maybe not most people, but definitely a lot of people that listen to the debate, if they hear you say something like he wasn't able to pass any legislation, he wasn't able to do anything about the ACA, I'm worried that if I'm talking to someone like that, they're going to tell me like, oh yeah, Destiny told me that Trump wasn't able to do anything about the ACA, and they have no idea about the individual mandate thing or anything.
Sure. I mean, I think there's arguments to be had that there's a better back and forth there, but I think that MAGA has largely detached themselves from reality. So most of these debates just end up being like at the highest, most like macro level claims back and forth. I think if somebody wants to have like an in-depth conversation about legislation that Trump has or hasn't passed, I think that'd be a lot more exciting to have. But Owen Schroyer wasn't prepared to discuss literally anything in depth. So probably a decent amount of my statements are going to be a bit more hyperbolic, but I think that like the spirit of what I'm getting across, like, oh, you guys failed on the ACA, you didn't do anything about the ACA, right? Like, no conservative's going to come back and be like, well, actually, we got the penalty for that reduced to zero, because they know it was a massive failure to not repeal it. They ran on it. They talked about it for like 8 years, and then when McCain voted no, it was an actual gasp on the floor when everybody was like, oh God, like they messed that up. So I mean, this like in a vacuum, this claim is going to be more narrow. But like the conversation I just had with the last guy about like certain sectors of the economy being damaged and certain sectors of the economy doing better, like I think that'd be a better conversation to have than arguing whether or not you could transition the entire economy to a manufacturing economy. But it seems like right now the right is largely incapable of having those types of conversations.
Okay. Do you think that we would maybe disagree that you were? Well, I mean, okay, that's fair enough. So another claim you made is that Trump was kind of hoping Mike Pence got killed on January 6th. You use the word kind of and like trying to be charitable and whatnot, but I mean, even if so I know you don't like this. If you don't like it, just deliver the argument for why it's bad. Okay, don't just. But if we do an internal critique, okay. On your view or whatever, even taking a Trump critic perspective, I don't think it would be good for Trump if Mike Pence got killed either way. I don't know if that's really, you can not want someone to be killed and still pressure them to do something that's
more technically you could say that, yeah.
So do you think it's fair to say that, this person over
Trump
here...
didn't want Mike Pence to be killed. Trump wanted Pence to feel like Trump could have had him killed to pressure him to act in a way that he wanted. When it came time to count the votes, I guess you could say that, yeah.
Yeah, but isn't it like a little bit like maybe unfair to say like, oh, this person over here, like Bob or Trump or whatever, you're claiming that someone kind of you're especially before he was, getting elected, right? You're saying that this person kind of wanted this other person to get killed, and if that's not true, like some people might interpret that claim literally. It's just kind of like my point. I don't know. You did say
mean, like,
kind
there's a
of,
world
so-
like the issue is that like there's two huge, very interesting things going on. So one is that like there's a back and forth debate with a very bombastic guy who I don't think was capable of critically engaging almost anything. Number one, right? So a subset of that is that like it's hard for me to even get out a full point without him shouting, interrupting me. But then number two, like I feel like the same people that would take I feel like the majority of the people listening are understanding the implication of what I'm saying. I think that if you would ask anybody like, do you think that it would help Trump if Pence were to actually die? They would probably say, oh, that probably wouldn't help him. But if you were to ask the majority of people, like, what would you expect somebody to do when somebody's watching a bunch of people outside the Capitol building saying, hang Mike Pence, and he does nothing? I think a lot of people are like, ooh, maybe he wants him to die. But like, I don't think anybody would correct and say, no, it's not that he wants him to die, it's that he wants him to be afraid of dying. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, like that's technically true, I guess. But it's like, I feel like this is like almost a distinction without a difference. Like on a strictly, like if we were parsing language for like syntax and logic, I think maybe the one statement is more accurate than the other. But overall, especially with a president who is like prone to making hyperbolic statements with literally every single time he talks, so much so that there are like turns of phrase for not taking him literally but seriously. I think I'm communicating more or less what I need to. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Sweet. So with January 6th, I think there's a lot of good things that happened after. Just making descriptive, like, so our Capitol building, the security got tighter. We had, what was it? I don't remember. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought.
No, you're good.
But yeah, so.
Common talking point is that the ECA got strengthened, the law. I don't know if you're going to bring that up, but
The ACA?
the ECA, the Electoral Count Act, they added a couple
Oh,
lines. or something.
something about the Electoral Count Act was like a bill, and in the bill we had a bunch of things that were good. I can pull up my notes for it, but so there can be an efficacy problem when like a president does something. So like someone could be anti-abortion but still vote for someone that's pro-abortion because the pro-abortion guy is just so bad that he ends up actually strengthening the anti-abortion stuff. Like he could end up like just being incompetent or something. And so if Trump is trying to do something, it could result in a situation where it unintentionally sort of strengthens the democracy process or something.
That's you're playing with fire there, right?
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think I agree with the point you're making, but like so I'm just I want to be razor focused on the actual claim though, because if someone were to make the claim that, this event like weakened our democracy, I don't know if that's.
Well, I think it weakened the democracy by making it, one, the attack itself, I think kind of weakens it, and then two, I think that. When a thing happens, I think it enters like a probability assessment for future action. Like it seems more probable based on how people respond to it. And I think that now that's like kind of something that's more in the air. So I think there's a lot of like fallout from that that's really bad too. Like I would rather just go back to that never having happened than the result of that having happened.
Yeah, if Justin Bieber gets attacked, he's going to increase the security, right? So that attack might actually decrease his likelihood to get attacked in the future or something.
Yeah, but what if he was just never attacked? Wouldn't that be good?
That would be better. But if we're razor focused on the claim of whether the attack weakened or lowered his likelihood of being attacked in the future, it's going to be.
Yeah, I understand, but there are some things that can probably be like so bad that you probably wouldn't want that to happen ever,
yeah.
Right? Like you could strengthen your child's defense against a rapist by setting him up with his rapey uncle that won't kill him, but it's like, Jesus Christ, I wouldn't want hey, now you'll be more careful next time. Like that's just like an insane to say that the president tries to coup the government and then fails, at least we have a few more guards in there. I think that's I think that the damage there is too great to say that like scar tissue is more durable than normal skin when it comes to like penetrative stuff, but like it's less flexible and doesn't do the same job that skin does. So I mean, I don't know. It's like, yeah, I would reject that. I think even a more focused claim there is not accurate. I would say that it did damage to the United States. I don't think a few more security guards or a couple lines in the ECA is better than just having a country where we've never tried to coup the government that openly like that before.
Final thoughts, Nathaniel? Yeah, thanks.
If anyone wants to debate me, they can email me at debatemetrump@gmail.com, and then I'll record it with Craig on my Discord server, or you can find me on Pingburn and stuff. So yeah, thank you.
Cool, thanks.
All right. Put it up for Nathaniel Bruffett. Thank you very much. And I promise you guys I'll get at least one of you on stage. Just quick 5 minutes. Who would like to come up and ask Destiny a question? Put your hand up if you're interested. Anyone? Everyone, hands up way high. The higher, the better. Yes, you in the black top. Yes. Come on up. Let's give them a round of applause. I think you can make it up this way. Yeah. You can sneak around there. Watch the cable. I'll give you a hand. Step up. And a second. There we go. Yeah, of course.
Hi.
Let me get out my notes really quickly.
Go.
Nice and close to the microphone, please. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Arya. My question is, do you think the state of democracy is too far gone for young people like myself to even obtain a position of progressive change in the government?
When you say people like me, what is the implication? Or what do you mean? Like young people or women
Yeah,
or?
young people.
No, I don't think so. I think that, we've had like a literal civil war here before. It's hard to predict sometimes the future. Like the whole environment of our economy and our media space is so multivariate that there's a world where in 1 year Trump loses the midterms and Trump gets old and goes away and we kind of like go back to normal-ish after this current political season or whatever you call this. There's another world where Trump manages to hang on enough and runs again for president in 2028 and we have another civil war because he actually does it for real. It's hard to predict, but I think that people should always be trying to push towards, participating and making things better. I think Final Fantasy Tactics just re-released as like a remaster, and there's another game I'm playing right now. I enjoy playing video games a lot, but I'm out here doing this kind of stuff because I still think that there is an America that is like worth, kind of like advocating for, and I think there's enough people that want something better, even when it comes to, MAGA people. Hillary Clinton even said that the deplorables were just half of them, so the other half are worth fighting for. But no, I think that like a lot of stuff can change, and there's a lot of like wake up moments where people can be like, this is kind of cringe and not good, and we just kind of like move on, and hopefully, the people in the future learn a lesson from it. We kind of go from there. So yeah, I would never, until we're like actually shutting the power off and shooting each other more than we are now, I guess, I wouldn't give up all hope. I would also say as like an add-on thing too that like there's a surprising amount of power available at local levels if you're willing to invest any amount of time into it, especially if you can bring along like 2 or 3 people. There's a surprising amount of power at local levels.
Yeah.
The national and even the state level, depending on where you live, can be harder, but yeah.
Do you think international would be even more difficult to get into, such as like diplomacy or something like that?
International, so what, like ambassador positions or something?
Diplomacy or ambassador, yes.
I don't even know what the pathway is to that ordinarily. I imagine that's all like State Department stuff, so it's going to be federal. So it's probably relatively niche. Like I feel like all those people speak like 4 languages and have like been working in offices like that for a long time, but I don't know the pathway there. I bet that like if you email their offices and ask for recommendations, they can give you like jobs or places to work or secretary jobs to like be staffers in certain areas or something, yeah?
Yeah. Do you have a personal bias? Not a personal bias, but like a personal opinion on how the United States is going. Is it more optimistic or pessimistic?
I'll say it's on a razor's edge right now. We'll say 50-50. Yeah, I'm being generous just because Travis is smiling so much over there. I'll say 50-50.
All right. Well.
All right, everyone, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much for coming up. Thank you. You can come this way. Yeah, I don't want you to trip. Okay, that concludes the debates for tonight. Well, let's first give Stephen a big round of applause. Rock and roll, man. Awesome. Now we are going to do a poster signing just at the merch table. If you guys could form a line for anyone that wants a free signed poster and to get a picture with Stephen. You can form the line, make it go this way, and do it with it or something. Everyone on YouTube, everyone else listening, we are coming to LA next, October 4th in LA this Saturday. Make sure you join us if you can get there. We'll be at San Francisco the next day. And the next day after that, we'll be in Portland. And then after that, on the 7th, we're going to be in Seattle doing the very same thing. Around 28 debaters have signed up to debate on this tour, so there's going to be a lot of content coming your guys' way. Make sure you head over and subscribe to the Pangburn YouTube channel. It just takes a second, and you're going to be able to see some awesome debates and content over on our channel. I highly suggest, if you haven't watched it yet, watch our new vaccine debate, which I am calling the greatest vaccine debate of all time. You might disagree with me, but you have to watch it to see if you disagree with me or not. But that features Professor Dave Explains, Dave Farina, Dr. Dan Wilson, Debunk the Funk, versus anti-vaxxers Steve Kirsch and Dr. Pierre Corey. And that's a very fiery debate on our channel, and also I highly suggest checking out our most recent God debate between Alex O'Connor and Dinesh D'Souza. I highly recommend Alex O'Connor's channel, by the way. Yeah, that's it for tonight. We're going to shut the stream down and get to the poster signing. Thank you everyone for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. Phoenix, we love you. Good night.